Welcome to the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's at his ideal weight if he were 10 feet tall, beef loaf. Never holding but always partaking, not hungry but will eat, My Sox Summer. And your host, he's aged and smells like a sharp cheddar, Terezi E.
Thank you, Cornsey. Welcome to the Fromthe108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink. If My Sox Summer doesn't know a player or mentions his time on the West Coast, you drink. If I swear or say here's the thing, you drink. And if Josh Nelson tells us that Zach Collins should be on our teams, drink your whole beer. Beef Loaf, how you doing tonight, buddy?
You know, boys, I'm all right. I'm good considering. I don't know if you noticed. Well, actually, I do know you noticed because you talked my fucking ear off about it. I'm clean shaven right now, so I'm not looking the best from that standpoint. And
you're not dying.
We've been trying hard to lose weight, and then this week for my costume, Josh Nelson had a small gathering. Terezi and I went. I dressed up as Vincent Vega. I shaved down.
You look good too.
You son of a bitch.
You look like a fat Vince Vega.
Now, I've been trying to...
Like Vincent Bodega.
Vincento Bodega.
I've been trying to, not only with the weight loss, I've just been trying to get my shit together in general. And so this week, or actually the end of last week, I ordered a bunch of new sweaters. It was time for the Beef Loaf to get a bunch of new sweaters. Now, the last time I had ordered sweaters probably or got a bunch of sweaters. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. And our dear friend, PC Johnny, he was a stylish fellow. That's what you do, gentlemen. Don't ask your wife for advice on what you should wear. You find your buddy that is a stylish dresser and you have them help you figure out what you should wear. So our friend, PC Johnny, helped me get my shit together. I looked great. Now, our friend has passed away, so I couldn't lean on him. He's not here for me to lean on. So I had to go out on my own and buy a bunch of sweaters. So this morning, I take out one of my new sweaters. I throw it on. I'm feeling good, you know. I go downstairs. I tell Mrs. Beef, how do I look? And she turns her head and looks at me. She starts laughing. She goes, "Nice shoulder pads." And I'm like, "Shoulder pads?"
Yes.
And I go look in the mirror, and the sweater is kind of like it's almost like a 90-degree angle. I'm not lying to you guys. I have the sweater right off camera. Would you like me to put it on and we're gonna take a look and see if I got shoulder pads on my sweater or not?
Sure. I mean, why not? You're gonna anyways. So go do it.
Let's
do
it. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me get the sweater on.
Headphones off so we can talk shit about you.
Yes, I'm gonna mute myself. I'll put the sweater on. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
What is wrong with him?
What 80s store did he go to?
Right?
Did he go to the mall to get these?
I was going to ask him how many sweaters featured Mike Tyson saying Merry Christmas on it.
See,
those
are
that's what I think he would have bought.
Those are great sweaters. That's what I figured he would have purchased too. Instead, he's going to DJs at Chicago Ridge Mall and buying sweaters.
It doesn't look no.
Oh, you know what? When you
go like this,
when you lift your arms up.
Yeah.
Like just kind of go like this.
Yeah.
You can see that. Yeah. There's
you look like an extra in V.
There's a little bit 1980s businesswoman going on.
It's okay. So this is Mrs. Beef's giving me shit. So finally I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to put up this bullshit. So I went to work looking just like this, right? Have my day at work or whatever. All this stuff happens. I come home. I come rolling through the door. The first
a couple guys for the linebacker.
First thing Mrs. Beef says to me, she's like, "What'd they say about the sweater?" I said, "No one mentioned it." And I realized that made it even worse. Everyone was looking at me like I was Michael Scott wearing the women's suit, but they don't want to say anything because they're like, "How the hell does Beef Loaf have shoulder pads in this goddamn sweater?"
You know, it's wild because like you're one of, you know, I could use shoulder pads. I got a mighty hunch like Mr. Burns, so I don't got great shoulders. You two both have good shoulders. You don't need the shoulder pads. But let me tell you, I'm glad you got them because you look fucking ridiculous. But it takes a little bit away from your fat Hans Molman face now that you're all shaved down.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, I love today someone on Twitter. Oh, Teresa's really giving you a hard time about your face. You're a prick every fucking day of the year, 100% of the time. I'm glad people are finally starting to see this shit.
This is nothing compared to what I give Beef on a daily basis.
Off camera, off
what you
off
give
the
him.
internets.
Yeah.
So other than me looking absolutely ridiculous with shoulder pad sweatshirt on and having the fattest face ever on 70 Zoom calls in the last 3 days, I'm doing absolutely great. How are you, my Sox Summer?
Well, we talked about we've been going out and walking around old Bridgeport, shooting the shit. It's been fun, right? And we discussed a lot of things, and I almost wanted to do a 1 minute with Loaf and MSS in the morning. You know, like we'll talk on a topic or something, and we'll just throw it out there. And I basically unload because we don't see each other now like we used to.
True.
We would see each other like 2 to 3 times a week. So I kind of unload on you immediately upon like getting in your stratosphere.
Yeah.
I get confused. I got confused a few times today when I turned around and looked at you, and I didn't know who you were because of your face. But other than that, I'm right there. And so today things went kind of haywire again on Twitter, which seems to be the normal as days continue to go. And one thing that I said to you today was I didn't know I was going to talk about my banner, but one of the ideas was why does White Sox Twitter practice self-harm? Because we do. It's starting to become a little bit too much for me. And I feel myself sinking over to either a dark side or the bad side because I'm so tired of somebody being so fucking righteous about something. It makes me want to defend somebody that's done something totally and absolutely horrible. Just because I don't want to hear this person tell me anymore.
I appreciate you defending me shaving my beard off. It was a horrible thing, and I'm a horrible person for doing it. But I did it for selfish reasons.
For the costume, I understand. I understand. But
Beef, I gotta say, Beer Garden Jim knocked it out of the park. You look like fucking Gru.
Oh, that is a good call. That is a damn good call.
I don't know who Gru is.
This will be my costume next.
You know that Despicable Me movie?
Oh,
yeah, the bad guy. Yeah.
Yep.
He's like he's the new Gargamel.
He's the new Gargamel, 100%.
You could pull off Gargamel too right now. So just in case you want to spray to many fields,
So do I need to stop talking about this? Was this your nice way to like say, hey, Jake?
No,
don't talk about.
No, it's fine to talk about.
I'm not going to get into details.
We as White Sox Twitter, we're cutters, man.
We are cutters.
We cut ourselves a little bit. We
cut others.
We harm ourselves a little bit.
We cut ourselves and then yell at other people for cutting themselves.
Yeah.
And then we in turn cut ourselves.
Yeah,
we do. It doesn't make any sense. If you're telling somebody, hey, don't yell at this person, they can do what they want, but then say, hey, you can't do that. You can't say things like that. Like, you have to let everybody live by the same rules. And
my thought is that it is directly tied to the White Sox. Okay, when the White Sox were bad and Sox Twitter was smaller, we all had that miserable thing in common of the Sox being shit. Yep. So we had to bond together on the positive things, right? Now the White Sox are good. It's like we're all rich, we're wealthy. So now we don't know what to do with ourselves. We don't have that bond of misery. Now we're just fucking going crazy every day. I think it's directly tied to them.
It's just ridiculous. And I for one am just tired. And I've kind of stayed out of a lot of that stuff. And that's my way, and that's our way, I feel like. But I wanted to tell like a personal story, and I'm not going to divulge any names or anything. But I wanted to just let everybody know if you're worried about the 108, this is what the 108 is. Okay. At the beginning of all of this, they were like in the very early stages of this, we were associated with somebody who got himself into a little bit of hot water with the front office of the Chicago White Sox. And immediately upon this happening, we're contacted by this person and said, hey, listen, if you need to cut ties with me so that you can continue a good relationship with the Sox, feel free to do it. Like, you don't need to do that. And we didn't really even confer. I remember walking to your house and doing a Sunday soak and just said, hey, we're not doing that, right? And they're like, no. And all three of us are like, fuck that. We're going to back him. So we were willing to give up whatever relationship we'd have with the Sox, if this was going to treat us negatively, we were going to put our ball in his court. We weren't going to go and say, fuck you, you did something wrong. Because first off, we didn't believe he did anything wrong. And we thought that what had been done was sort of like kind of stupid, and it just seemed it was very petty like thing. So I just wanted to me, it just was something that I wanted to say. Like, we're not worried about our image all the time. We're not worried about where we end up. Yeah, right. We just
speak for yourself, Brew.
We fucking do. We do what we want, and we do when we kind of act how we feel. And if we have a friend, and we've gone to go to bat for a friend, in certain cases, that's what we're gonna do. That doesn't mean we can't change our mind either. Like, if somebody that we've been associated with does something abhorrent, we can say, you know what? I don't like this guy anymore, and he's not part of me. So, but I just wanted to share that, be like, hey, at the beginning of this, we could have gotten like slapped sideways, but you know what?
Yes.
the people that mattered
took out your
internet. Yeah, the people that saw it were like, this is not a big fucking deal. We would still like to work. We like working with you, and it was never even brought up. It was never a thing, So I don't know. I just wanted to share that. I probably is not going to get well reviewed by people, and they can all suck my dick. So I don't really care. But anyway,
I think we should clarify on that we have never met Omar Vizquel.
No,
that's true.
Definitely not what we're talking about.
There was no backwashing involved. We didn't do anything with that. None of that shit. Okay?
When you're vague, and then you're talking about the team.
No.
I don't want people to
Shockingly, nobody in this room right here, these three people, follow Omar Vizquel, but somebody does that we all know that seemed to be a little preachy today. It was pretty interesting. So, Chorizo, how you doing?
I don't know, honestly. Yeah,
was I confusing to you?
You were very confusing, and I'm glad that I was. Like the past week, I've been mostly in Star Wars Twitter, so I think I've escaped whatever wrath you're talking about.
It's a good move.
But no, I'm doing good. So you guys know I've been in bands with my buddy Chris for about the past decade, right?
Yep.
And this past, since the last podcast, we did something that we had never done as a band, and that is have our own practice space. So for the first time, like, we had always shared practice spaces with people. Like the last one we were in, the one that we just left, there was like 5 bands. There was like wall to wall shit. People would leave like half drank beers on top of other people's gear and shit. It was just like disgusting in there.
Delicious.
And I'm like, I'm 127 years old. It's about time I get out on my own. So we got our own space, and it was like, why the fuck didn't we do this like, a decade ago? And I was just wondering, do you guys have anything that is like, because I think most of the shit you guys do is very, you're in a very adult part in your life. You guys have kids,
sure.
Like, is there anything that you've hung on to where you're just like, holy shit, I still do this? I can't believe it. Other than shaving, Beef.
That's a habit I need to lose. I need to extricate the shaving for myself. 100% there. That's tough. Is there anything that I still do that I shouldn't do, or that
that you got rid of in like the past couple of years?
I recently shed. Yeah, that's a great question.
My suck summer. I know you still eat peanut butter kisses, so don't fucking tell me you don't.
Right. Yeah, I still do that. But I would say the only thing that I've really shed recently, I'm mostly, and if you said, because you said a couple of years, it was the smoking. That's a big thing. Like that was a lot of bad shit. But I can't, like, I still engage in shit I probably shouldn't do. Definitely.
I'll tell you something that I shed.
Gotta grow out of it.
About 4 or 5 years ago, probably maybe closer to 3 years ago. I shed the fear of being fired or being jobless. I shed that completely. So if I got fired tomorrow for whatever reason, I don't think it would bother me that much. I've kind of gotten to the point in my life where I feel comfortable enough. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. No, I'm not aiming to get fired or anything. I work hard at my job and I want to do a good job. But like, I've got that, like, when you're younger, you have this like the fear of failure thing, and then I don't have that anymore. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, I'm going to do what I think is best, and even here with the content stuff, I'm going to do what I think is best, and if it fucks up, it fucks up. I got it.
I still have that fear of being fired, but it's mostly because I do this show.
Understandable. That's understandable.
Canceled.
Incredible.
Understood.
We liked your presentation, Chris, but you talked about dicks a lot last night on the show. So
all that gilf talk, we're not sure the company sees that very well. We're not
I real named myself. That's fine. My SoxMachine. I could do it for myself.
We love Werther's originals, but we don't love all the gilf talk.
What's hilarious is that no one at work calls me by my first name, so that wouldn't even be a clue.
They don't know who it is.
They just call you chorizo. They call you chorizo.
They go full chorizo E though. They keep the E. They like the They're big NWA fans, so they
chorizo E.
Chorito.
How you doing?
I love when we first kind of really started hanging out with Walter. Yeah, and he could not grasp
Walter
the chorizo.
No, he couldn't.
Wally.
He would say chorizo E.
I missed that. I want him to fuck my name up again.
Well, bro, he's from Naperville, so you have to give him a little bit.
The main streets of Naperville, by the way. Timothy Maher's give me a hard time in the chat. So anytime I talk with my hands, it accentuates my shoulder pads.
You did. You know what? When you put your arms out like this, it definitely is a lot better.
It's like if I was calling a field goal, you see these big things. I don't know what they are. There's nothing in here. It's just the way the fabric is.
It's just the way it's cut. It's just the cut.
It's just the pleat of the pants, is what you're telling me.
Where did you get that?
I have shoulder boners right now. Yes, that's what I have. Shoulder boners.
When you went and purchased that, what was the store called? Kohl's?
I ordered it on Amazon. That's the thing. I ordered all this shit on Amazon. I was just looking at stuff, pointing, and like I'm going to order this thing. I didn't go to a store to try a bunch of stuff on.
I feel like PC Johnny's like spinning around right now. He is so mad at you. Ordering clothes from Amazon.
No, he would let me order clothes online, but he'd tell me, here.
Online, not Amazon. Yeah. It's not the place that you can buy plumbing supplies and clothes.
What's the difference?
Oh.
See,
you buy everything at Costco, you asshole. Don't even tell me. Don't preach nothing at me, okay? Don't you? You got a fucking gigantic fishbowl of animal crackers. Kiss my balls, all right?
Oh, I actually don't. I wish I did. Every time I get the girls, I ask the girls, do you want to get the fucking animal crackers? They're like, no. I was like, what the fuck? It's delicious. Yeah. They're delicious.
We could win this weight loss competition. Just send this fucker goldfish.
Barrels of animal crackers to his house every day.
Animal crackers.
Barrels.
Yeah.
Once he finishes the first one in a couple hours, you send another one through there.
Barrels of animals to his house. That's all I heard. Guys, I think it's time.
Exactly, Tim.
For the show poll. You guys ready for the show poll? Because I got a good one tonight, and I feel like people are going to want to comment on this one. So this is
I was doing really good shit, and you took too long. I had to stop.
Calm down. Your favorite Scorsese flick.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna go first because
do it.
All right,
do it.
You were gonna take this anyway, so I'm gonna go Taxi Driver. I'm going Taxi Driver. Beef, you go second because I know you're not gonna take what My SoxSummer wants.
I'm gonna be real honest with you, Treasy. I like Taxi Driver.
It's a good movie.
I don't love it. Because it's very weird, in my opinion. It's just kind of a weird movie. It doesn't really, it doesn't flow for me that great. The ending is terrific. The ending is absolutely outstanding.
There was, when they made movies back then too.
Yeah.
Like Dog Day Afternoon, the same kind of deal.
Oh man.
They would just throw some weird shit in there.
Yeah.
Because you're like, some weird shit. And like, and and Taxi Driver, 100% loved it.
What's that line from Dog Day Afternoon when they're like, let's fly to a different country, like Montana. Beef, what's your pick, man?
All right, so I love tons of Scorsese movies. So I'm gonna go with the movie that I'm most recently watching a little more often than usual, and that movie is The Departed. I really I love the deep dive into the Irish gangs. They do a little too much of the Italian gangs in movies, which I love anyway. But it's nice to dig into some other ethnicities' gangs, and so The Departed. I also enjoy it. Matt Damon gets fucked up at the end of that movie. I mean, there's a lot of good shit going on in that movie. It's the only movie I really enjoy Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg cannot act his way out of a fucking paper bag, but in that movie, I think he's playing himself. And he's really good in that movie. Dignam is a great character in that movie. So I just enjoy the shit out of that movie in totality. And I like the I like kind of the adversarial relationship, the Leonardo DiCaprio and the Matt Damon thing. So it's I love that movie.
It was a good movie. That's a very good movie. That was definitely my number 2 pick.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what's number 1?
Kind of close.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stop. Hold on a second. Remember that guy that used to do the impression, the Mark Wahlberg impression, like in every movie, and like he would just be like, he was a video, and he would stand up and he had like a bathrobe on, and be like, "You like this milk? You want some of this milk? Oh, I bet you want some of this milk." Like there was a whole big thing. You guys don't remember?
No idea.
And Lo's giving me the look like he's just doing this mostly on purpose to like make me feel even worse. So that's okay.
I'm trying to make you laugh in the middle of it, but I don't know what I don't know.
It's not working. There's a good one. I'll find it and I'll post it sometime. So now I can win the draft right now, or win the poll very easily by picking the most beloved like gangster film of all time. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not.
Wow.
You love a different movie. I know
there's a movie that I love more than anything, and it's probably the last movie I saw in the theater, and the opening scene made me just fall in love with it. As Leonardo DiCaprio is sniffing cocaine out of a chick's ass, I was like, I love this movie. It's the first movie I had to pick. The Wolf of Wall Street is like by far.
I knew he was going to pick that. I knew you
by
were
far one of my fucking favorite movies of all time. I just love that fucking movie because everything about it is just great. Like it's got the sex, it's got the drugs, it's got the money, and it's just funny. When the scene where he takes the old fucking Quaaludes. Is it Quaaludes?
And he tries to get into his car?
Yes. And the way he remembers it and the way it actually happened, they play it back to back, was the best fucking shit. And like I laughed harder in that scene than I probably laughed in most like comedies. Like it was just fucking hilarious. So I'm gonna go with The Wolf of Wall Street.
These are great choices because there's going to be a million responses for some of the other movies that
I feel like I want to get the last one in there, though. I feel like we need to get the last one. And I almost want to introduce our guests to see if he has an opinion on this to get one more movie in there. Or did you already post with a GFY?
I didn't.
You didn't post
I never put a GFY in this.
Okay.
You just
I
leave
put
it pure,
the selections.
Right?
I don't like the fucking yucksters that do the GFY and then they fuck up the poll. Like you have to make a decision. This is like politics. You have to make a decision.
Well, we got a guest, so I'm gonna bring him in.
Bring him in.
Let him get on the show poll. So,
hey,
this is our guy right here, and as My Sock Summer so beautifully put it, motherfucking Josh Nelson, tonight's guest.
Hey,
welcome, Josh.
My Sock Summer, sell me this pen.
It's good. That's a good movie, and it's a good line in a good movie.
The book is interesting. As someone at one point that was aspiring to be a career salesman, it is a very interesting book. It is very interesting tactics as far as sales goes, and I can understand why he got in trouble for what he did. But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I'm currently going through the list right now and trying to find what I like most out of the choices that you guys have provided, because those are the heavy hitters here.
Well, there's one huge one.
But see, here's the thing, Treasy. I'm gonna steal here's the thing. We brought in Josh. He's not a big mafia guy. He's not a big mafia movie guy. So,
but is he a big pistol whipped in the middle of the street suburban guy?
So the
movie history, but still,
the movie I'm going to pick is Raging Bull. That is.
I was going to say he's going to pick Hugo.
That's a great movie. Raging Bull is a great movie.
Raging Bullwinkle also, if you've ever seen it.
Not a movie, but also great.
Josh, if you've never seen the Raging Bullwinkle skit, I need you to see it. So after the show tonight, I want you to check it out because it's quite amazing. I'm surprised we didn't get Goodfellas up there, but
I'm happy we didn't though.
I like it. I think a lot of comments will come from that. But I got to tell you, I brought up that scene because it is probably one of my favorite scenes in a movie for something so stupidly said in the scene. So, other than the guy going, "What do you want, fucko?" and then getting hit in the face repeatedly with a gun, the guy that sees his buddy get hit in the face like 15 times with a pistol, and then looks Leota dead in the eyes and goes, "What are you doing?" I think you know what he's doing. I think you should be running.
Or have a load of shit in your pants from watching that.
Or both.
Or both.
Goodfellas is a great movie. I see your comment, Mr. Webb. Goodfellas is a great movie. I probably quoted Goodfellas more than most. Well, no. Eddie Murphy Raw has probably been quoted by me more than Goodfellas, but it's a great flick, but it's also the easy like layup pick. Like, I don't want the layup. Like, I would rather have, standalone good movie there. So yeah, it's good.
Well, I do have a question for you fellas.
Quit getting
really
quiet.
Quickly. What are you drinking? I'll start with Beef. Beef, what are you drinking? Because you probably got some weird concoction that you want to tell us about.
No, I don't. Actually, I'm just drinking the rum that I've been drinking, the Chairman's Reserve, the Forgotten Cask. And we're getting down towards the end of the bottle, so it's going to be good. We'll probably finish it tonight. Delicious.
I like that you're going straight rum. I'm proud of you. My Sox Summer, what are you drinking, man?
I, as pointed out by your lovely wife, am drinking Vizzy. It's a fucking 100-calorie fucking hard seltzer with antioxidants and vitamin C. I need to pump myself full of vitamins and seltzer water and some alcohol.
I like Suburban Housewives.
I like that you threw down two F-bombs to make it sound like it was cooler than a seltzer.
It's a lot tougher. I have already talked to our guy over at Goose Island to see if we can get a solo that is a 5% alcohol solo, because I would drink that. I don't want to drink something that has 2.5% alcohol in it, because then I got to drink twice as many, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having a 100-calorie beer. So we're there. We're getting there. That might be the next 108 beer, the 108 light but heavy. I mean, I'm a marketing genius. I just thought of that. Josh Nelson,
help us with our weight loss.
What are you drinking?
Well, happy International Stout Day to everyone. So I am drinking the Morbidly Obese Pug, the Cookies and Cream edition from Maplewood Brewery. And I just want to state for the record some backstory of the 108 guys that the folks that are watching the live stream would enjoy. I can say that Chirizi was half in the tank when he showed up to my Halloween party, but after he had one of these, we played a game called Flux, in which the rules constantly changed. And in no way can you ever pass. And Chirizi attempted to pass 3 times, and he was so drunk he could not play rock, paper, scissors. He could not coordinate his hands to do a rock, scissors, or paper. And I thought he was going to fall down the stairs after he went to the bathroom.
I would argue this.
You can't remember it. There's no way you remember any of this.
I left this party way too early. That's what I'm realizing. I left way too early.
I had, I don't know, 400 or 500 bourbons before I got there.
Your comment the following day, coming off the Peloton, my sweat smells like bourbon and ginger.
Hey, if you worked out, that's good though.
I will tell you, Josh, I do remember how good that beer is.
Oh,
like, it was absolutely delicious.
It is delicious.
I appreciate that you kept me alive for my time there. and that you gave me some of those beers, because that's, oh man, yeah, those were awesome. I do not have those tonight myself. I went to get some solos from the Bennies, because I don't know if you saw Cornsey tweet earlier that the wine fridge was empty. So I had to.
It's looking sorry.
It was a cry for help. I had to get some refills in there. So we got that set a little bit, and then I was like, I'll grab some solos while I'm here. And then I saw, oh man, they got some of these already. I think I got to get down.
Oh, nice.
Because I know people get emotional about how quickly you get into Christmas stuff.
Yes.
I'm in. I'm in for Christmas beer, because I think here's the problem. There's no Thanksgiving beer. There's not like some gravy beer that I'm unaware of, or maybe there is. But there's also
soda,
like
gravy soda.
these beers come out, and like if you wait until like mid-December, my Sox Summer, you're gonna tell me I'm right here. These things ain't gonna be good anymore, man.
No.
You can't be drinking this. This is bottled, they're canned or whatever, just recently. Bottled in this can. Bottled in this can. Like
When does it say it
recently.
was canned?
I don't know. I
you
can't
go.
read.
You gotta lick it.
Yeah.
You gotta lick the can.
Lick the
That's the only way
bottom
to
of
get-
the can.
To get
It only
no.
tells you when it's good till
What does it
Which-
say it's good till?
like March.
Oh, then
Which I don't
then
believe.
it's pretty fresh. It probably give you like 4 months, which is 2 months too long to be honest.
Yeah, I ain't waiting until Christmas to have that, and it's delicious right now. So that's
Jim Fistmas.
Fistmas is out
It's
too.
all right.
I was like,
there he is.
My favorite Christmas beer is from Stone Brewery, the Joca Vesa, which is
what is
this
that?
Mexican hot chocolate brown ale
Ooh.
that
that's
sits
hot.
between 7 to 8%. And it's just as smooth as the cookies and cream. And oh yes, I have gotten very drunk at holiday parties out in San Diego off that beer. It's one of my favorite Christmas beers.
I don't like Oktoberfest, Jim. I don't know how that's relevant.
Well, my name's Josh, so we're off to a
He's
freaking
yelling at
roaring
comments.
start.
He's yelling at the comments.
Comments.
Oh,
You're fine, Josh. Josh, we're down. Hey, look, can we get into something important right now, Josh?
I don't know. Should
Did
we
you like that graphic?
graphic?
You didn't see the
Yeah, when you
graphic?
came in.
Oh, look at
Oh,
this! Yeah, that's awesome.
Is that good?
That's great.
All right.
That's great. Let me guess. You got that Chirizi about 3 hours after you asked for it.
I didn't even ask for it. It was just a
Nice. All
a very
right.
special surprise.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you.
That's for you. We'll print that out and give it to you for Christmas
Excellent. Should be stickers.
with a sticker of Fistmas.
All right, my Sox Summer, you want to pay some bills?
Fuck yeah. I was talking to a friend and they said, and I quote, "Oh, those new Mazdas have some serious curves, like a Porsche Cayenne." And I was all like, "Do you know who you're talking to? I mean, I got a guy that can help you out." And that's the thing about Mazda of Orland Park. You got a guy there. You roll up in that piece and say, "My guy, my Sox Summer sent me," or even "My main man, Treasy, sent me here to get a new ride." And they will show you the respect you deserve. They won't bust your balls. They just want you to be happy. That car you're looking at right now, that's a Mazda CX-30 Turbo Premium package with all-wheel drive. And it's loaded. You want windshield wipers that are smarter than King Nam? This SUV has them. They sense when it's raining. They just sense it. 100% amazing. Check out all the features on the website, MazdaofOrlandPark.com. Give them a follow over at Zoom Nation. If you're on the Twitters, they are a Carfax top-rated dealer and take advantage of their $500 discount for Sox fans. Fuck up fans. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park. 708-444-3200. Zoom.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you,
stuff.
my Sox Summer. And now I think it's time we just jump right in to some baseball talk.
Woo.
It's baseball talk time. We're going to talk some White Sox baseball. And what we're going to do is we're going to share our SoxMachine off-season plans. And so for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, Josh is here to explain to you what the off-season plan project is. So Josh, if you want to, first of all, give us the lowdown on what it is. And then after that, let's talk about some of the themes that you're seeing so far.
Sure. So the SoxMachine off-season plan project is where everybody gets to act as the White Sox general manager. So you will be looking at the same decisions that Rick Hahn is trying to make right now, because there are some difficult decisions he has to make or try to work through 5 days after the World Series. As we are streaming this, he has lost a day, so he has about 4 days before the deadline hits, with club options and extending out qualifying offers for players and just deciding on who he's going to let go as far as free agents before they're allowed to sign with other teams. Free agents can start signing with other teams 5 days after the World Series. But unlike the NFL or NBA, where when you have that opening day, it's just a flurry of activity that doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. Typically, the players and agents themselves like to play the slow game so they can get as many offers as possible and then decide from the offers on hand which one is the best one and meets the client's needs, and they go sign with that team. So as the general manager, you got to pick who you extend qualifying offers to, who are you going to try to re-sign before they hit free agency. Then you have all of the arbitration eligible players. Which arbitration eligible players are you going to be tendering contracts to? And there are the club options as well. This year you have Craig Kimbrell and Cesar Hernandez that have club options. Once you get through that level, then it's the time to be creative, in which you are going to be pitching the types of trades or free agent signings based on a $170 million player payroll budget for this season, on how you would improve the Chicago White Sox for 2022. And we've gotten a lot of submissions already, which is great. People have there's good ideas, I think. There's also very creative ideas in which I won't say they're good or bad. They're just out of left field, to use a baseball term, something that I've never even thought of before. And maybe it is a possibility. But that's why it's so much fun during this period in the off season, just to see what ideas people have as far as obtaining players for the Chicago White Sox to try to make them better next year.
So Josh, how does someone submit one of these?
Yeah, you just go to SoxMachine.com. It's on our homepage. It's on the very front page, and where you can click on the button, submit yours. There is the whole layout that you just copy and paste, put it into your own post, put in your own words, submit it, and then it eventually gets published on the website. You asked about themes that I am noticing so far with these off-season plans. The first theme that jumps out is that no one is playing by the rules. And the rule is the player payroll budget is $170 million. And I swear the first 20 submissions, and credit to them, they wrote it. I am not following the rules. I'm blowing by the budget because I'm fighting this, and then they get into their tirade against Jerry Reinsdorf and how the Chicago White Sox should have unlimited spending power.
Josh, before I do my own plan, I try not to look at too many of the ones on the site, but I looked at a couple, and like the third one I looked at was As in Rec, and As in Rec had all this big preamble and then spent $255 million.
Yeah, exactly.
No team's going to spend that this year. I don't know if you got Elon Musk as the owner now or what the hell's going on here, but this is outrageous, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, well, it's fun. It's about ideas,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I've seen $255 million payroll ideas, which would lead Major League Baseball in player payroll by a lot. But that's the first, is you're not seeing a lot of plans adhere to the $170 million payroll. The other is it's almost unanimous. Nobody's keeping Craig Kimbrell. Everyone's trying to figure out some type of pick up the option and trade Craig Kimbrell and try to come up with trade ideas for Kimbrell. And the third one is, how do we get rid of Dallas Keuchel? Like, what kind of trade makes sense, shipping Dallas Keuchel out to save some cash so you can go get another starting pitcher. The fourth one, and this is a very heated topic, is Yasmani Grandal. There are quite a few plans that do not want Yasmani Grandal to be the primary catcher going into 2022. That's a bit surprising to me. But the first three, not adhering to the $170 million payroll and try to trade Craig Kimbrell and Dallas Keuchel, that's almost every single plan so far.
Josh, what are the people saying that we should do as far as a catcher position? Sign another catcher?
Well, their idea is either trade for another catcher or sign someone like Manny Pena and have them be the primary catcher because they're better, quote unquote, defensively than Grandal. And Grandal gets more at bats at DH and first base. They're not suggesting that he should never catch, but they don't think he should be the primary catcher and getting the bulk of the starts behind home plate.
It seems really odd considering we have 18 catchers. Basically.
Well, we don't have any good ones.
We have 18 bad catchers. Yes,
we have one good one, which is Grandal. Yeah,
That's the one.
But they're pushing him out.
They want him.
Yeah.
They want to
Let's get rid of the good one. Let's work the projects a little more. Let's see what that happens.
Yeah. That happens. Like I said, there are good ideas and there are creative ideas.
Well, Josh,
that's a good way to say it.
Creative ideas are what you come to this show for. Absolutely. And so our commenters already have a bunch. So we've got, is moving the team to Mars permissible?
Well, listen, the Rays are trying to split next year, playing half the season in Montreal and the other half in St. Petersburg, Florida. Sure.
I thought you were going to say Mars, bitches.
Man, I almost don't want to bring this up, but it really bugs me that Josh Nelson is drinking a stout out of a can and not out of a glass.
See, there he is.
You got to get the nose. You got to get the nose of that
beer
stout.
Beer Snob Summer.
Damn.
Good.
I wish I could still change your name.
There you go. See
you can't change it. What do you want me to change it to? I'll do it for you. Just
Beer
because
Snob
I'm a
Summer,
team player.
man.
Hey,
but you won't admit to being a beer snob.
But see, it's gonna taste so much different now. It's gonna be better, Josh. Trust me.
I'm sure I
thank you for doing
that perfectly.
Motherfucker, I grew up 20 plus years in the state of Wisconsin. Don't tell me on how to drink alcohol.
Well, I'm not saying that you should drink it different. Like, you can drink it however you want. I'm just saying you will enjoy it.
Actually, Wisconsin is a terrible source because of all the stories that we have shared about how every cocktail is served out of a pint glass.
Yes,
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
and you have a beer to make it taste
ingenuity right there, baby.
A brandy old fashioned in a pint glass.
Why do we need different types of glasses? We've got glasses. Here's your brandy old fashioned. Here's your whiskey sour.
So
good shit.
So let's get into the plans. And so
sure.
I think, Beef, you wanted me to go first. I will go first. And so there's a bit of a theme to my plan, and that theme is that the pitching staff has already decided.
Okay.
We're not adding to it. In fact, I will quickly get to the impending free agents and say that I kept nobody. So no Carlos Rodon, no Leury Garcia, no Billy Hamilton, no Ryan Tepera. I non-tendered Evan Marshall, Brian Goodwin, and Chase Fry.
Okay.
I bought out Craig Kimbrell.
Okay.
I'm just going to give him $1 million and say, terrible job, go fail somewhere else. And then I'm going to pick up the Cesar Hernandez. I'm picking up the $6 million on Cesar Hernandez because I looked around, and if I don't want to spend $20 million on a second baseman, I get Cesar Hernandez. So that's where I'm going there. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember everything very clearly, but I feel like I had a contract for Jonathan Villar, and you guys told me to make it cheaper, and I was like, fine, I'll knock money off.
I told you. You guys thought he was a world beater. I said, you got to lower that contract a little
bit. I ended up with 3 years. Oh, I do have to mention this. Tony La Russa dies in my plan.
Oh my God.
So Ozzie Guillen is coaching this team. What? Oh, that crosses the line?
Josh already wants to leave the show.
Listen,
he's in better
I just want it on record before Rick Hahn speaks to the media tomorrow morning. Chirizi is suggesting that his manager is going to die.
All right. You make it sound so rough. I'm not killing him.
Okay. Let me smooth it out. Rick Hahn is going to have an opportunity to pick another manager for the 2022 season.
Just wait till tomorrow when Rick Hahn comes out with an urn, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, Teresi was right."
I'm half expecting. I'm half expecting Rick Hahn to be having his Zoom press conference in Queens, New York tomorrow.
Oh boy, there it is. There it is.
Why would he ever take a job that he could get fired from?
That's true. Yeah, coming to America.
Hey, so I hate to digress because that's all I do. But I was watching a thing on Coming to America, and they were saying that Eddie would get into that costume and he would just go out in public.
Why not?
Really?
Yes.
Get into character.
Right?
Which is awesome. Could you imagine, like, if you were out and you, like, saw that dude and you're just like, and he's acting crazy and shit, and then, like, a year later, you watch that movie and you're like, holy shit, that was Eddie Murphy.
You didn't even know.
I love his white man skit in Saturday Night Live.
Mr. White.
Years ago, Mr. White.
All time.
It's the best skit ever on us.
What are you doing? I'm paying for this newspaper. Take it.
The scene on the bus, also the party breaks out. It's ridiculous.
So with that, I signed Jonathan Villar. So I did 3 years, $15 million. So basically 4, 5, 6 is the way I'm doing it because I don't have to be around for the end of this contract. That's pretty much how I did a bunch of my contracts to stay under the cap. And my big signing is Starling Marte. And now I felt like this was maybe a little cheap for Marte. I went with 4 and 56. And now the reason I did that though was because I read a Bleacher Report article from the trade deadline where there was talk of an extension for him and that he was looking for 3 to 4 years in the $50 million range.
That's correct. Yeah, that comes from Craig Mish, who's one of the best sources on the Miami Marlins.
So assuming that's somewhere near accurate and assuming he has a chance to play in an outfield with Luis Robert where it's going to take a lot of the pressure off of him, he's going to be in a really good lineup. He's probably going to go to the playoffs. Like, I think he would take a 4 and 56 deal, and it's, again, increases throughout his contract. He starts making what he was making last year, which is $12.5 million. I hope he would do that because I really want him on the team because he looks like a running back in right field, and he could play center field if we needed him to. So those are the two big offensive pickups in free agency. I did make one trade on the offensive side, kind of offensive. This is for a very defensive catcher, which is Jacob Stallings of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I was actually, Josh, I was looking at Manny Pena to say like, oh, maybe this is a guy. His defense looks pretty good. And when I was looking at the Fielding Bible stats, there was a guy who had like 20 defensive runs saved. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? And so I looked at it as Jacob Stallings. No. And so Stallings is in the second year of his 4 arbitration years with the Pirates, and he's projected to make $2.6 million. The Pirates window is at least 2-3 years away.
I was going to say 2-3 decades away.
Yeah, I mean, really. And so like it seems weird for them to hang on to a guy like him when they could probably get something for him. And the fact that he's defensive catcher, I had a really tough time pricing this out. So I'm going to tell you who I put. I'm thinking it might be on the low end, but you guys let me know. So I had Brian Ramos, Mike Rodolfo, and Christian Mena to go to Pittsburgh for Jacob Stallings. I think I might have to up the Brian Ramos into like maybe like a Dahlquist or something like that. I don't know. I have no idea what the market would be for a guy like this. But
I think your offer is good.
Every team could use a guy like this, and this guy would be the backup catcher. You can use him kind of in the right spots where you feel like he has a good shot at hitting well. He carries, like, the past 3 years, he carries like a 700 OPS, which is way better than what our catchers had last year.
The backup catchers.
The backup catchers. Catchers. And he was a backup.
Yeah.
Grandal is my starting catcher. I'm not one of those guys. So this gets to the starting pitching then. Okay, so the starting pitching, I mean, I think what you end up with here is you end up with the three that we all know, right? Like Lynn, Giolito, and Cease. I think Kopech is in that rotation. Mm-hmm. I don't see a way that they're not doing that. And I had a lot of trouble trying to find a trade for Kopech. Maybe because I probably overvalue him as a Sox fan, but also it's really hard to put a value on a guy like Kopech because you don't know what he's going to be. And then my fifth starter is Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel's contract is not movable. You could try and move it. And Josh, you made a really great point on when you were talking about Dallas Keuchel on your podcast of, like, let's say you gave $8 million and someone took that $10 million off your hands. Who is the $10 million starter that you're going to go get? Because they're terrible. They're all terrible.
Yep.
Like the guys in that range are awful. So I'm sticking with Keuchel. And you know what? I'm not yet ready to put an AL Cy Young tag on him like I did James Shields. But I think he will have I think he will bounce back and be better than last year. So we'll see. But one thing the Sox don't have is anything behind those guys. No. They got Raylo in the bullpen.
Yep.
Who's Raylo? He's not going to suddenly be great, right? I think we saw what he could be last year.
Fine. He's
and
fine.
It's
he's decent. You know?
A swingman, a sixth starter, a long reliever, right? So I was like, well, you can't really add to the starting rotation then. So how are you going to do this? So one idea I had, and you guys can tell me if I'm crazy or not, but James Paxton is out until the middle of the year because you got Tommy John. So I'm giving him $10 million for just 2 years. For 2 years, 1.5 this year, and then 8.5 next year, which would match his 2021 salary.
Okay.
It's broke Josh.
And so, and it comes off the shelf mid-July. And so
his wing will be in shape by then.
We'll see. And if it is, great. If it's not, $1.5 million risk.
Yeah, I understand, like, the logic of the contract. The problem with James Paxton is that arm is dead. It's fried. He's gone through so many injuries the last 3 to 4 years with that left arm. More injuries than Carlos Rodon has even gone through. I just don't see it, Treasy. Like, paying him $1.5 million to see what he could possibly provide, let's say in August and September, you're right. That is a worthy gamble to add some starting pitching depth. And if the American League Central plays out in 2022, like it did in 2021, the White Sox will have a comfortable lead that they can experiment. They could give James Paxton a few starts to see if he could be an option in 2023, if he could hold up physically. That second year would have to be a club option. And
I could see that.
Like the White Sox need to have some insurance that after the season, if he passes his physical and he performs well, then sure, the White Sox pick up the club option and Paxton sticks around in 2023. But if his velocity is just not there, and if he gets hurt again, then the White Sox could walk away and they just spent $1.5 million. This idea about James Paxton is like following the path of Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels has made a ton of money not throwing a baseball because teams are just paying him cash for the idea that Cole Hamels could pitch for us. And it hasn't come to fruition at all. I wish Cole Hamels' agent was my agent and negotiating everything that I do in my life, because I'd be making a hell of a lot more money doing absolutely nothing.
Do you have an agent, Josh?
I do not. I do not. But I am in the market.
Don't have his number.
market.
I wish we did, because it would be more fun. We're like, hey, can we get Josh on the pod? And be like, I don't know.
If you
Josh
guys
is gonna
thought,
need 6 sweatshirts from you guys and 2 winter hats. All right.
And I'm not going to show up, because that's what Cole Hamels' agent does for his
Don't be there.
clients.
You get
Gets
paid.
him-
You don't come at all. You don't nothing.
I'm going to look this up. Cole Hamels' agent.
if you guys
Do you
thought
have
that
a
I had
phone number?
lost Josh on the James Paxton,
You got more good stuff coming.
get ready for this, because we're signing 2 minor league deals too.
I love it.
Because we got nothing at AAA, man. You know, you could tell me all of the Stevers and Lamberts and all that stuff, and I'm sure Future Sox is yelling at the screen right now, telling me how great they are, but they're not. Neither are these guys, but at least they're human pitchers.
Let's add more of them.
Human
Yeah.
pitchers.
2 meat bags that we're going to put onto this roster,
Meat bags.
because this one, the Sox were hot and heavy for in going into 2020. They wanted this guy. They didn't get him. Now they get him. Jordan Lyles. He's been a bag of crap for the Rangers. He's ready for a minor league deal. And then this one's special for Beef. Beef's guy. Every offseason he's telling me to get this guy. Matt Schumacher. We're going to give you Matt Schumacher finally.
He'll have a 30 ERA
Minor
in
league-
Charlotte.
I mean, both of those guys could end their careers in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And
Schumacher's tapioca. He's finished.
here's the thing, guys. It doesn't have to be these 2 guys. But I think the Sox do need to grab a couple of the I think meatbags is a good word, of guys that are just, they're not going to get pro contracts, but you need some arms, because you got to think about it this way. What is there, like almost 1,500 innings that you got to fill up in a year? And if you could get, it's like 1,450.
Yeah.
And you got to get maybe 480 out of your top 3. I mean, maybe Lance Lynn will go more, this year. And then what are you going to get out of Kopech? What are you expecting out of Kopech? What are you expecting out of Keuchel?
Mhm.
Right? There's not a lot of innings there, and you can't put, 900 innings on the bullpen.
Not with that attitude.
So I just feel like you got to get
the real C word, Treasy. Just
you got to get some guys. You got to get some guys that are just
Some guy.
there to throw pitches when you need it. Because this year we had an unbelievable amount of starts from our 5 starters.
We did.
Unreal. Was it?
No, it's not. It's totally going to happen again in 2022. I don't know what you're talking about,
baby.
Treasy.
Bring it back.
Have some faith, man.
I mean, think
Say it,
about
Loaf.
think about September Michael Kopech after throwing 160 innings. What is there? Like how is that possibly going to be a thing?
I have a lot of questions about the Houston Astros starting rotation next year. I also have a lot of questions about the Atlanta Braves starting rotation next year. You make a good point. This is why it's so hard to repeat. We haven't seen a repeat champion since the late 90s New York Yankees, because the teams that make it to the World Series, it's such a gauntlet, and the amount of innings that their pitchers have had to take on, it's a crazy amount, especially like for the Houston Astros. Like, how many starts did Luis Garcia make in the postseason?
Oh, DeBarge, he's going to be.
He started like 4 of the World Series games. According to me,
and-
every time I looked out there, his long hair was hanging out, and it's
Yeah.
like, this guy's going to start again.
He's
Like, what
rocking the
fuck?
baby. Max Fried started a bunch of postseason games for the Atlanta Braves.
Got his ankle stepped on.
You make a good point, Chirizi, about when you're doing this offseason plan project, or even if you're not participating, but as a White Sox fan, you're trying to think of what moves Rick Hahn has to make. And you may say, well, I may not need to address the starting pitching. That is a false comment. the White Sox need to address the starting pitching, but they have to do it in a way to add more depth. Because while we're talking about the offseason plan project, White Sox fans, pull out a piece of paper, get a pencil or pen, and write down who do you think is going to be playing for the Charlotte Knights on opening day. You know, we follow this team and we talk to a lot of people who also follow the minor leagues. And I think that's an impossible task right now.
Yeah, I agree.
The White Sox just don't have that depth between, let's say, Birmingham to Chicago. There is a gap between those levels, and you got to find a way to field a team in AAA. You can't not have a team in AAA, especially in a market of Charlotte. So going after guys like Jordan Lyles and Matt Schumacher, not an inspiring signing, but they can keep the dream alive. And if somebody does go on the injured list, well, you got someone that has proven major league experience, not good experience, but Tony La Russa can, throw him out there for a starter
maybe Tony La Russa. Maybe Tony La Russa.
Well, the thing is, Treasy, I mean, your general thesis there, we got the pitcher whisperer, man. Rick Giolito told me Ethan Katz the pitcher whisperer, so he's got to be able to find something on the scrap heap that he likes and thinks he could work with. That's something,
That's a good point. And like the Schumacher and Lyles are guys that like I've looked at in the past, or the Sox have been into in the past. And I think you're right. It should be Ethan Katz going, you know what? That guy, no one is looking at that guy. Let's get him. Mm-hmm. Let's bring him in. I think I can work with that. I think there's something left there. I think James Paxton arm is better than what Josh Nelson is saying it is, but not as good as what Treasy thinks. I have one more signing, and then I'll shut up. Because I want to sign this guy. I want to get Brad Boxberger on the team.
Yes.
And I'm going to double his last year contract. I'm going to give him $2 million.
Oh, beautiful.
How generous of you.
You know what? Some guys are doubling the Sox payroll. I'm just doubling Brad Boxberger's salary.
Treasy, do you have the intestinal fortitude to run down your 26-man really quickly and give us the payroll?
Yeah. So I got catching Grandal. First base, Abreu. Yep. Second base, Hernandez. Shortstop, Timmy. Third base, Yohan. Center field, Luis. Left field, Eloy. Right field, Starling. DH, I have Gavin Sheets because I think we're going to face righties more than lefties. Jonathan Villar's our utility guy. Andrew Vaughn, outfield, corners, DH, whatever he's going to do. Adam Engel is on the roster. Jacob Stallings, backup catcher. Pitching, we already went through starting five.
Yep. Then
the bullpen is Hendricks, Bummer, Boxberger, Crochet, Cordero, Burr, Ruiz, and then Reynaldo Lopez as your swingman. Minor leagues, Jordan Lyles and Matt Schumacher. And then James Paxton is on our 60-day IL. And then Craig Kimbrell is bought out. And we come in at I think it's 172, 173 million, somewhere around there.
Within the margin of error. So good job.
Yeah. So I could skim a little bit off some guys. Oh, I did skim. I gotta mention this because I got about $300,000 or $250,000 saved. I did not go with the Jimmy Cordero 1.2 million from MLB Trade Rumors. I went with the 950,000 from Cots Contracts because it helped me, and I am not sorry about it.
Wonderful.
All right.
My Sox summer, you are up.
If you guys need a drink, get one now because you're going to need it after I finish this. I am popping a new one right now. I know I'm known as the baseball numbers guy in this group. I am a stats guy. 100%.
Looking forward to this.
I definitely know everyone that plays in the MLB. I know how to find the good ones. So just brace yourself. Just get ready for this genius drop. All right. We'll just start with the ARB guys. I'm going to tender Lucas. I'm going to tender Reynaldo Lopez. I'm going to tender Evan Marshall, which we'll talk about later. We'll see. Adam Engels tendered. Brian Goodwin is non-tendered. Jimmy Cordero is tendered. Jace Fry is also tendered, potentially. Options. Kimbrell.
Drink.
Not
Perfect.
the one I
That
thought
was
I was going to fuck up, but hey.
Craig
Shot.
Kimbrell,
Go
baby.
for it.
Chris
He's in the
Kringle.
Christmas spirit. He's in the Christmas spirit
Listen,
right now.
Our tree's
Is your
not up
tree
yet,
up?
but I'm
Is your tree
almost
up?
there.
Put your tree up
I
right
thought
after
you
the
guys
show.
would have it in your
Put your goddamn
background
tree up after
already.
the show.
So anyway, I don't know what to do with him, but I know that he can't be here. So it's not, if I don't know, I didn't have the time today or yesterday. The first time I started to do this, I took a 5 meg edible, and I got very confused and said, I'm not even trying to fucking do this. So the last 2 nights I've done this, and it's very frustrating and hard for me sometimes. But I had to think about it. So I'm just going to go with the $1 million buyout because it's a lost cause. It doesn't work. If you can buy him, if you can get him and trade him, if anyone can do it, fucking Rick Conn can do it. He can trade Nate Jones when he's hurt, and he'd been hurt for 19 years before that and still got some value from him. This guy can trade him. Cesar Hernandez, see ya. Get the fuck out. And Chirizi said it. You're not going to get something that's like him for about the same amount of money. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get something that's like him, but better. He just did not have it. Once he got here, it just wasn't that good. And Chirizi, I'm willing to take the risk.
I'm excited to hear who's better.
Yeah, well,
For
your brother
$6
knows
million.
him.
Yeah.
Free agents. I didn't know how we could not do this. So Lyles Garcia definitely gets the qualifying offer, and it's probably here next year.
Okay.
All right, let's not give him a qualifying offer.
That's too much. That's too much.
Not the qualifying offer. I was going to give him. Hold on, let me see where it is. $5 million a year for 2 years or something.
Okay, that
3
makes
years or something.
sense.
I think
Not 18 million.
Bennett Carroll. I think Bennett Carroll said 2 years at 5 or 10 million for 2 years or something like that. So I was like, okay, we'll go that. So anyway, $5 million. Carlos Rodon. I don't see how we can't give him the qualifying offer. If he takes it, he takes it. And then we have our 4 guy. If he doesn't, which I don't know if he will, then there's a whole different world then after that. I'm banking on Carlos Rodon hopefully saying, hey, let me show you this, which I don't know why you would, but maybe you will, because I don't feel like he's been treated badly by the organization necessarily. It's the umps that his wife hates, so it's not us. So that's a positive.
It
so
depends though, because I remember back in the day there would be the overtones of he's fat and out of shape, and that's why he's not pitching well. I don't know. Maybe I did.
But he
I
was.
that, but I sort of remember that. That feels like treating your employee badly. I don't know.
But
I could be wrong about that.
Here's the deal. Now, don't you want?
They never said he looked like Gru though.
But I feel like this year he had a great year, and he's like, I started watching my diet and I started exercising. It's like the organization was potentially correct then. You're fat and out of shape. Quit eating cheeseburgers, motherfucker.
They shamed him like our fans shamed us into trying to lose weight. I agree with this then.
I don't think our fans did that. That's more so us shaming each other, which is totally illegal. Billy Hamilton, adios, dude. Sorry, Luke. I can't see his value on this team going forward. I just don't see it. Ryan Tepera, though, yes, I'm going to take him. I said 2. I think Bennett also said this. 2 years. 10 million a year or something like that, or
not 10 million a year,
5 million a year. Sorry, I don't listen. I'm trying to do this.
I know. I'm just trying to
doing
keep track,
good.
and you're at
I'm doing all right.
$75 million right now.
We're getting to the juicy part.
No, this is where it gets fun. So
all
free
right.
agent target. Okay, now.
And it freezes.
Of course. The first target is the easiest target for me to come up with. And that's one TJ McFarland. He has to be on this fucking team. We could use a lefty reliever regardless, right? He had a hell of a year, half a year with the fucking St. Louis Cardinals. That motherfucker pitched so goddamn much, got so many goddamn ground balls, and just listen, he's having a kid this month. He needs to be close to home. fucking get him right over here. Okay.
That's
Let's just do it. And we can pay him like under $2 million and he's going to give you a fucking hell of a return. I tried to explain this to Rick Hahn in a blog last year about how wherever he goes, he fucking wins. And I was like half kidding when I said that, but then he went to the Cardinals and they fucking won. So yeah, it works. So just sign TJ fucking McFarland. It could just be a solid for me on your way out the door to go into New York or whatever.
I love it. Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast.
Multiple times.
108 fan and follower. We should probably get him a Christmas gift.
I even asked him about the Kevin Costner shit when he was at Baltimore, and he laughed and he told us some stories about it.
He did. Really he did. He's very open awesome and guy. He's great. I like him. Now, if Carlos Rodon says, no, I don't want to play for you guys anymore, I think one of the guys that we need to go after is a right fielder. And I don't think he's good enough to – Carlos Rodon is the number one target. But if Carlos Rodon says, no, this guy we should probably go after. And it pains me to say it, but Kyle Schwarber.
Yes.
I feel like we need to, get the little baby – of Babe Ruth out there in the right field and just return to Chicago, do some damage for a year. His numbers aren't all that great. His batting average sucks. It's like 260.
But he hit the shit out of the ball last year, man. He crushed.
He did. He had a great fucking year. Yep. And so I don't know if that equates to shitloads of money thrown at him this coming year, which I don't necessarily think it will. But if Carlos Rodon says no, Loaf and I talked, what would we say? 12, 13 million?
I think we said 3 years, 37 or something.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it wasn't great, but
does he have an option with the Red Sox or no?
Nope, he's out there, baby.
No,
he's out there.
Yeah. So I'll take his swing choir ass. It's all good. Let's just bring him over. if Carlos Rodon says no, Carlos Rodon is definitely number one. Now, Teresi, here's my guy. My guy.
Second base.
You ready for this guy?
I'm ready.
Second base, man. He's my target. Wilmer Flores. Now, you're saying, hey, why Wilmer Flores? Guy had 18 home runs last year. All right. And he's not going to be all that expensive. Probably going to cost half of what Cesar Hernandez is.
He's going to be cheap.
$3 million. So
let me tell you, though, let me add on, MSS.
Yeah.
He was playing with the Giants. He could bring some of the Giants' voodoo magic that they were using out there to transform normal, below-average human baseball players into good.
Right.
Maybe he could bring some of that shit to us.
My number one target in that area, after meeting with the guy the other day, when I sold King Dom's bobblehead for him, he told me, he's like, why don't we have Javi Baez on the team? And I was like, you know what? I never thought about it, but it seems like it would be really too expensive. So we could potentially have Kyle Schwarber and Wilmer Flores. I don't think he's anything special, Teresi, but I also don't think we need anything special. I think we need a guy that can hit. He can hit. He has a positive WAR, which is a good thing. That's what they tell me. And it's another way to roll the dice and just see what happens. It's just another gamble. Let's just gamble, and it's not as big of a gamble, I feel like, or it isn't as costly as a gamble.
Yeah, it's cheap, and he's righty, but he doesn't have real bad. There's not much in the way of the splits. He kind of hits evenly both ways.
Right. Okay. So my starting line, I don't have any trades. To me, it didn't make any sense. We're going to be trading for something that we're going to need back immediately because we don't have anything. We don't have any minor league talent really. So I would feel like if you got into a position that you needed to get somebody, you can just go to the scrap heap and buy somebody. I feel like that's what you would have. I would rather you save money, or you don't save money, but you don't have anything you don't have anybody to get out there to garner anything. It just doesn't work that way. I don't feel like. I don't know. It's just
that may not be true.
What do you think?
What Chris Getz has been saying and what has been going on during the Arizona Fall League. There is a lot of outside interest, and when I say outside the Chicago White Sox interest, in Jose Rodriguez. I have been told by people today asking how are things going down in Arizona, and they said that Jose Rodriguez is going to get a big bump up the White Sox prospect rankings before the season starts. Mm-hmm. And the way that he's hitting, the way that he's moving in the field, and the fact that he's just 20 years old. And if the White Sox do want to make a trade, and if a team is going to ask for their best prospect, don't be surprised if teams outside of Chicago think that Jose Rodriguez is the best White Sox prospect, which you can look up at everyone's prospect rankings now, either nationally or locally. Jose Rodriguez is not number one.
No, he's not.
That's wild.
I
just looked him up real quick because, although I'm very familiar with him, I just wanted to double check things. So good call there, Josh.
Allegedly.
And I mean, he's not a guy that's going to be with the team this year, but is it possible he's with the team next year?
He could be with the team this year. Not
break
camp.
Not break camp is what I meant.
Break camp.
We can have these general conversations after Beef Loaf shares his idea, because there are topics as far as like with the starting pitching, and we should have a conversation about second base and right field and what the situation is going to be out there in the market, because those are going to be the two areas, especially the position player front, that White Sox fans are going to pay most attention to.
So I'm going to go with who I got here. You got Yaz, Abreu, Flores at second, Timmy at short, Makata at third, Aloy in left, Robert in center, Sheets in right field, and then your DH will be Vaughn. Utility, Garcia, catcher, Sebi, Engel, your utility outfielder, starting pitching, Lance Lynn, same as Treasy, Lance Lynn, GOCs, hopefully Rodon, then Keuchel. And then if things don't work out with Rodon, right, you move up Dallas, you move in Kopech, and to see how that goes. And maybe you buy somebody. Maybe you pick somebody out. You have your pitcher whisperer that goes in there and gets somebody. Hendricks, Bummer, Crochet, Ruiz. Cordero and Marshall, I think, could be like let go or moved or not picked up if you needed to sign somebody else if they had like an idea of something. I'm not really high on either one of them, but I also was like, fucking arms. And then TJ McFarland, because I figured if we're gonna fucking sign him, he's fucking better be in there. Why sign this guy and then not put him in there?
Did you keep Fry?
You're damn right.
I did not. I could have. I could.
No. I like that you didn't. I like that you didn't. It just I thought you said earlier you did, so I wanted to make sure he wasn't in there with McFarland.
I did say that.
I like you kicking him out and bringing McFarland in.
I did say that earlier. I fucking 100% said it because he was in initially, but then when I was like, listen, I don't see how we can't sign, or if we can't get Rodon, we have to go all in on Rodon. So now here's some outside the box things. There's one guy here, and I can not gonna be able to pronounce his name, and it's gonna be beautiful. He was played for the Texas Rangers. He's born and then not raised, but from the mean streets of Sterling, Illinois, Mike
Fulton-Evich.
Yes, thank you. I wonder, and I was running some of these things by Loaf this afternoon. I don't think I put him in there.
You didn't run that one by me.
I put the Cubs pitcher in there, which
Zach
Loaf was like, these guys. This guy sucks.
No.
Everybody hates him. Don't fucking bring him up.
I said he's horrible, and his pitching style is out of vogue. So you can offer him almost nothing if you want.
He's the right-handed version of Dallas Keuchel.
So Josh,
crafty right.
You feel like he's gonna get like
crafty righties sell insurance.
I want my man Mike. I want him to get a fucking invite to camp. And the reason I want him to get an invite to camp, if he's like not picked up by somebody else, is because he's at least durable and he can throw innings. And now I don't know if it's going to be like his numbers last year were horrible. They're not good, but he threw 139 innings. So that's not bad. Like you could use that. And it's going to be a low risk, high reward thing if it works out, I feel like. So and you can't doubt the guy that he's from Sterling. My God, we'd be best buds. We'll talk about Angelo's Pizza and Arthur's Garden Deli.
There you
and
go.
We'll reminisce about how we should go back to Lisa's Brick House and get drunk some night when they fucking reopen after the fire. But I just think that guys like that, we could potentially get some invites to camp. Listen, we're not.
There it is.
We're not the ugly chick at the bar anymore. We're the hot chick at the bar that people fucking want to party with. So, like, come give us a chance. come, bring some people in and let's work some edge. Let's do some work. That's what I think the biggest thing is. It's like, let's not be afraid to like take some chances and see what happens, especially in spring training. And like, not just run of the mill bullshit. Like, let's try out Blake Rutherford again. Let's try out, whoever. Let's put some fucking people out there that can potentially make it. Like, take a shot at some old people, not like an Irving Santana old, but like old, and see if they could come in and like, take care of business.
They prefer the term veteran.
Yes. Good. Yeah.
The thing is, Josh, we're in our 40s, so we just say old, and we think everyone's cool with it, but you're right about that. You're right.
I mean, I wouldn't even be against having Albert Pujols come in and fucking DH for us. I don't give a fuck.
It doesn't sound like he's gonna.
It's cheap. Come through, motherfucker.
He's got a Werther's Originals sponsorship that he's working on right now.
Pujols is not retiring. Just two quick things. My Sox Summer, you are right. Bringing somebody in like Mike Foltynewicz, if he doesn't have a permanent deal with the other 29 ball clubs, inviting him to camp to compete for a spot in the rotation or in the bullpen is worthwhile. Sure. And at some point, Foltynewicz needs to make a decision, because I don't think his overall stuff, and especially his velocity, is good as a starter. I think he needs to make that decision of, let me see if I can recapture 95 again in an innings worth of work, and see if I'm a reliever that gets me a gig on a Major League Baseball team. The only way you could find out is during spring training. Your Wilmer Flores and Lurie Garcia combination, the reason why I like that idea from you is we learned this season on just how important depth can be, especially in the position player front and position flexibility. So if Yohan Moncada, in a hypothetical situation, he's got a sore hamstring, he needs to miss a couple of games, but he doesn't need to go on the injured list. Flores has experience at third base, so with your hypothetical lineup, Flores can move from second to third, and Lurie Garcia is at second base, and everybody is comfortable on where they are playing. Mm-hmm. I think largely this previous season, the White Sox really lucked out throwing guys at positions that they've never played before. And luckily they didn't drown playing those positions. They didn't embarrass themselves. But if you bring in someone like Flores, who is not going to break the bank, and if you do bring back Lurie Garcia, well, now you got two guys in the position player front that have some position flexibility and experience at playing most of the positions in the infield. So I do like that idea.
See, I need you here. You're like my hype man. I just throw shit out there, and you're like, this is why it's good.
Yeah, I hype you up, and I tear down Chirizi. So let's get to people.
Let's tear this guy down.
I'll be honest. Next summer, when you shot through, what would you pay Wilmer Flores? I almost tore up what I was doing at second and said, I'm going to also copy this idea, because I really like it, because no one else is doing it. It'll cost almost nothing. The bat has always been solid, and like Josh said, he can flex the third. So like, and the Sox don't really have another third baseman. Like you have Jake Berger, I guess, down there, but we saw a little bit of him. But if he had to come up for a little bit of time, and like he might strike out 40%. I don't know. Like I don't know if he's real or not. Yeah. But Wilmer could definitely handle third if you had to put him there, like Josh said, for 4 or 5 days or something like that. You're not going to put Yohan on the DL, but you gotta house a guy there, and also just to give Yohan a random day off. Like, it's hard to give him a day off at this point, because you kind of don't have the guy. I mean, you put Lurie there, but Lurie's not great at third base.
Is my drug-addled brain remembering this correctly? Is Wilmer Flores the guy with the Mets who thought he got traded and was like crying on the field?
100%.
Which, look, I'm not busting on the guy for crying. I love that. Like, I want a guy who's so invested in the team that he would cry when he gets traded. So I like that about him. I was just trying to remember that, because I just remember that it was like such a strange moment. You're like, oh my God, this guy got traded. He's so emotional about it. He's hugging everybody. It's, that's the kind of guy you want in your clubhouse. Yeah. And then it was like, no, he's not traded.
And then he's like, fuck you guys. I'm still here.
We got a comment from Frank. Did I just throw a chicken across the room? Yeah.
It looked like it.
It's one of Frankie's toys.
I was hoping so. I was like, you started plugging plushies, Josh? What the
fuck? Yeah, I did. Good catch, Frank. Good catch.
Keep an eye out for that.
A lot of people noticed.
Yes.
A lot of people noticed.
Yes, they did.
That's our fans for you.
No,
So
Josh
my
did
sex-
not choke his chicken. No, he did
How
not
dare
choke
you.
his chicken.
How dare
Not
you.
yet.
Not
My
right-
sex
not right
summer,
now.
I was really worried as you were listing off your guys that you were keeping. I was like, where's he gonna have money to make moves? And I think you did a really good job of like getting some cheap guys in there. I love the Fromthe move. I thought about Fromthe108 and I was like, wait, he played for the Rangers too. How many Rangers am I bringing in?
All of
bringing
them.
into the org.
They're bringing them
And
all in.
I really want to talk about Jordan Lyles so I could use the term hot and heavy. So I
Well, I mean, and he was,
missed out on. I'm glad you picked him up.
he was there with Lance too. I mean, like Lance would have a good in there that makes it comfortable, you know. And then they're also like Lance will definitely say 100%. Hey, there's a guy that sits in right field that's from Starling, Illinois too. So you guys are like best buds. Like he's friends with the guy. Your baby. Like when you were a baby, the person that babysat you. So
I wonder. You know what? I gotta wonder right now.
Yeah.
If you ever substitute taught
no.
Mike Fromthe108.
His parents left. He grew up. He went to Manuka High School. So he left Starling after a certain point. I don't know how far he made it in Starling stuff. But and I'm not even kidding you. One of my good friends from high school, like still now, is stood up in his wedding. He held him when he was a baby. Like he knew him. Like when I was like, dude, this guy's from Starling. He's like, yeah, because we were doing some. I feel like it was another off-season plan or something that the Sox would sign. And I brought him up then too because I'm like, dude, it's from Starling. This is awesome. We got to do this. And then it was. So T Money held him as a baby. So and T Money was a really good pitcher in high school. And I think what happened was Mike stole all of T Money's pitching skills from him by when he was holding him, and then he became a major league pitcher. That's what happened. Because Tom sucked when he went to college. He wasn't very good in college. So I think Mike stole him. So it's good.
Beef. I am extremely excited to hear your plan. I want to hear who you're trading Luis Robert for.
Fuck that. All right, I got to preface this with two things. One, you guys took an hour to do your two plans. So
Yeah.
I'm
You
going to
got
try
all
to
the time in
speed,
the world.
I'm going to
All
try
the
to
time in
speed
the
through
world.
this. However, as I mentioned before we started the podcast, my plan is a little bit too long, didn't read. So I'm going to throw a rule out there for the group. Chirizi has the power that if my plan is going too goddamn long, he's going to yell out Hoochie Mama, and then I got 2 minutes to finish it and dash through. Yes, we're going to do Hoochie Mama, and we go right through the plan, and then we're going to be done, okay? Because I don't want to drag the show too long. I don't want to keep Josh Nelson up all goddamn night, even though he does stay up all goddamn night because he drinks nothing but Dr. Pepper. I'll start my plan absolutely right now. And my preamble or my theme is that the White Sox 40-man roster is fucked. And this team needs a left-handed hitting ass kicker. Lastly, I want to get weird in the bullpen. Let's fucking go, okay? ARB-eligible players, we're going to tender Lucas Giolito with $7.9 million. We're going to tender Ronaldo Lopez $2.8 million. Evan Marshall, I love your fat, slow ball throwing ass, but you're non-tender. I'm sorry. You're injured. You're out of here. I'm going to tender Adam Engel. That seems obvious. I'm going to non-tender Brian Goodwin. I feel sad about that. I like Be Good. I'm going to tender Jimmy Cordero. I'm also going to tender Jace Fry. Fuck you guys. Jace Fry has an option. He's getting $1 million. I'm going to hold on to him, okay? Club options. I mean, we could revisit this later, but I'm going to buy out Craig Kimbrell. I think there's ways to trade Craig Kimbrell, and we could talk through that a little bit at the end if we got some time. I'm also going to decline the option on Cesar Hernandez. Goodbye. We're going to go cheaper at second base. We'll explain that a little bit later. The impending free agents. I'm going to let Larry Garcia go. Loved you. Thought you were overhated while you were here, but goodbye. I'm going to put the qualifying offer on Carlos Rodon, but I think he's going to go elsewhere. I think the White Sox aren't prepared to give him sort of a Nathan Eovaldi style deal where it's like 4 years and $68 million or something in that range. And I think a good team's going to be willing to do that. A team that is willing to stretch their payroll is going to say, look, the guy's not going to throw a ton of innings, but he's extremely fucking effective when he does throw. We think he's kind of over the hump of his old injuries. He came back in the playoff game through 99. I think that was a good showing. I think he gets himself a good deal. He's not in Chicago anymore. I'm going to let go of Billy Hamilton. I'm going to let go of Ryan Tepera. Thing is, Tepera was great while he's here, and he was great all season. I think he's going to command a little bit of a premium. So we're out on that with relievers. We're going to buy cheap on these relievers when we get to them. Free agents. I've got 7 free agents to sign. I think we got to fill in a lot on this roster because the 40-man's fucked, and I need legit guys. We'll go quickly here. My starting second baseman is Jonathan Villar, just like Chirizi. I got 2 years, $7 million. To me, like, you needed a guy who could also handle shortstop somewhere on this roster. I'm not starting the year with Danny Mendick. I'm not starting the year with Romy Gonzalez. We need a legit guy. So he's going to start at second, but he can also cover short. That's two.
Can I just quickly say, Josh is making notes like in a fucking presidential debate. He's like, I hate everything I've heard so far. You could feel the pen driving through the paper. But go ahead, Beef.
I haven't even done anything offensive yet.
I've had a White Sox should sign Jonathan Villar article saved in the drafts on SoxMachine.com since December of 2019. It has collected dust. So if this happens,
here it comes.
I have a 2-year-old draft ready to be published.
Now, I don't normally go for this sort of like soft stuff or like guy's a good clubhouse guy, but I listen to Kevin Goldstein's Chin Music podcast quite a bit. It's one of the few like general baseball podcasts I listen to because he fucks around a little bit in there, and I kind of like some of the funny stuff. But I'm going to sign Josh Harrison for 1 year and $1 million to be like the utility guy. And the reason why is because Kevin Goldstein said that he's like an 80 grade clubhouse guy, just a super positive guy, just a guy you could throw in any clubhouse and like he brings up the mood. And I think the Sox couldn't hurt having a guy like that. I know he's a little older, but he's going to be cheap as hell. He can't play short anymore, so Villar's going to cover for Timmy, but he can kind of play the other infield positions. He could sub in the outfields, whatever. He's my utility guy for extremely cheap. Third free agent is the aforementioned Manny Pena. I go 2 years and $4 million. We just need a defensive-minded backup catcher. He hits well enough to start when needed, and I know Josh mentioned a theme of like, we're going to displace Yasmani as the primary catcher. I don't want to do that, but I would like to give him more ample rest than you really were afforded to last year when he was healthy. Like, you realized everything was a train wreck around him. Like, Zach Collins was incredibly bad defensively and didn't hit. And then Sebi, was okay, but like below average defensively and also didn't hit. So like you didn't have anything to like say, you know what, we can give you an extra day here. Yeah, so we're going to put you at DH today and give you a couple days off those knees. Manny Pena will be able to do that, but he's not going to be primary catcher. Let's say 50 starts or something like that. My big offensive signing, they need a left-handed hitting ass kicker. I went Michael Conforto, and I did 4 years and $64 million. And the reason why I've seen crazy shit about how much money he wants or whatever. He had a mediocre year last year. Okay, he was a little bit above league average. I know he started slow and all this stuff, but usually the last indicator like that does tend to push value a little bit. You're not going to get top of the market if you were like an average motherfucker the year before. You got to be a real superstar, and he's had injury concerns in the past. So this is the kind of guy I want to man right field. Let's lock down right field, because when you look down in the minors, we ain't got shit down in the minors that's going to come up and play right field and be a real guy. I understand the concerns about finding a spot for Andrew Vaughn or Gavin Sheets. Let's let that sort itself out. Right? It's nothing wrong with having too many good bats. Let's have more good bats for the positions here. So, and Conforto's career OPS for his right-handed pitching is 873. The White Sox need one guy like that added to this roster. I didn't think they were that lopsided when it came to lefty versus righty, but this definitely evens it up in my personal opinion. So he's going to man right field. He can also fake center field, not like Starling Marte, Treasy, but he can fake it kind of in a Nick Swisher way if you need him for a day or two here or there.
So I think to jump in on that just really quickly, because you mentioned that, and then you also, Josh Harrison's your utility guy.
Yeah.
I think you're using other guys for shortstop and center in the scenario where you need them, right? Like, so Adam Engel would probably fill in at center.
Yep.
And you'd probably move over,
VR.
You'd move over VR. Like, yeah. So I like that. I agree.
All right. Now we're going to move on to the pitching staff. I'm not signing a starter. I'm going to sign some bullpen arms, and one of them you're going to like, oh, okay, I know. And then there's a couple gambles here. So we're going to go first with Colin McHugh, 2 years, $4 million. He'll be 35 next year. He doesn't throw hard. I know, Josh, you're a big fan of this guy too. He does not throw hard, but he pitched great for the Rays last year. I'm kind of looking for misfit toys in the bullpen. I don't want to pay full price. What I want is effectiveness or someone that has some athletic talent that maybe Ethan Katz can unlock. So I'm going with a Colin McHugh to kind of fill in the spot number 1. Spot number 2, I'm going to go with Hansel Robles. I'm going to go 1 year, $1.5 million. He was mediocre in Minnesota. He drew some saves there. Went to Boston afterwards. Was better. But I kind of want at least one guy in this bullpen who's actually closed before, just in case, right? We kind of have this bullpen where we don't have the guy who, if something happens to Liam, which God forbid something happens to Liam, but if something happens to him, another guy with closer experience, live arm, he struggled a bit, but let Ethan Katz work with him, okay? And then my third signing in the bullpen is a guy who he was the bee's knees for like 5 years as a starting pitcher, mostly for the Philadelphia Phillies, but he really was no good. Has never been a good pitcher, but he's athletic and he throws hard. I'm going to bring in Vince Velasquez, and that's 1 year, $2.5 million with a team option for 2023 in case it works out. But I wanted at least one real project where it was like, can Ethan Katz make this guy into fucking anything, right? He's the guy who was playing left field in that extra inning game. Remember that?
I had him in one of my plans as one of the minor league pickups. I think I said something like maybe he plays the outfield for us.
White Sox's own Shohei Ohtani.
You know what? Sometimes you got to go and make a move where you don't really. I don't know what his eventual spot is. Like, I'm putting him in a bullpen right now, but maybe they figure something out with him, and maybe he's completely worthless. I don't know, but they've got to. They should have been taking these gambles in 2019, but you should still be taking them now, even at kind of the end of your 26-man roster, and seeing what you can figure out. Maybe he's cheap enough where he ends up with a minor league deal. I don't think so. I think he ends up with a major league deal with somebody. He's athletic enough, throws hard enough. I think he ends up on a major league roster. Now, I've got 3 trades, and these trades are quasi minor league trades because I wrote a blog about the Sox 40-man in the back of it and how shitty it is. Basically, there's a lot of dead weight you can cut here. And so I want to go through a couple trades really quickly that I would do. And then that would set the scale for the 26 and the 40-man roster with the White Sox. First things first, I'd trade Zach Collins to Cleveland, and I'd get back outfielder Daniel Johnson. I looked at Collins and thought, he cannot catch. Okay, it's obvious he's not a catcher. So I looked at major league teams who could afford to put a random bat that could come through at first or DH or whatever. Now, Cleveland's got DH filled. They have Framel Reyes, but they had no production at first last year, and they have a bunch of bozos at first. So they could take a gamble and say, we're going to dedicate at-bats to Collins there. Now, he's got an option left, and so does Daniel Johnson. Daniel Johnson's a left-handed outfielder. He's hit well in the minors. His minor league slash line is 274, 340, 457 across all his minor leagues, and similar numbers at the upper levels. But he never got a chance, even though Cleveland had a gigantic fucking mess in the corner outfields the last few years. They never gave him a chance there. So maybe he ain't worth the shit, but I thought if you're going to flip a guy who we just can't use, I mean, like, there's no first base at bats for a Zach Collins, no DH at bats for a Zach Collins, the way we're stacked up. Move him along and see if you could figure out a guy who's a corner outfield for this team. Both guys have an option, so it's kind of an even trade from that standpoint.
Beef, I feel like people in Cleveland have had an unbelievable love for one Daniel Johnson, and so I'm in the same boat as you. Is like, why not ever bring this guy up?
Yeah,
right. Like, how is Bradley Zimmer blocking Daniel Johnson?
Right, he had like 80 plate appearances.
Right, and it's like, and so I like the idea of the trade. I feel bad for Josh. He's losing Zach Collins, but
it's got no punching bag left over there.
you got to feel bad for Zach Collins too, because his social life is going to take a humongous hit. I follow that guy on Instagram, and he's always going out to the fancy ass restaurants in Chicago. That's gone. Like get ready to go to fucking Texas Roadhouse and Chili's, motherfucker.
I do feel bad for that reason. I do.
Listen, I love myself a bloomin' onion. Trust me, it's delicious. But like, I'm just saying, it ain't like RPM Italian.
No, No, it is not. Absolutely not. Trade number 2, I'm sending Yerman Mercedes to Milwaukee for left-handed reliever Clayton Andrews. Okay. Now, Clayton Andrews is from the weird toy box. We'll get to him in a second. But Milwaukee might take a chance on someone like Yerman for 2 reasons. One, I think the DH is probably coming to the NL in 2022, and they really struggled across the board offensively. So you might take a chance that you could fix some of the issues he had with velocity and figure out some methodology that the guy could hit in the majors. Number 2, they've been very good at taking a catcher who isn't worth a shit and teaching him how to frame and becoming competent behind the plate. And they did that with our own Omar Narvaez not that long ago. And they've improved Manny Pena and other guys. I signed Manny Pena, et cetera. Clayton Andrews is weird, and the reason he's weird is he throws the ball really slow. He has a 30-grade fastball, okay? And he's really small, like really small. He's 5'6", 160 pounds, okay? However, in the minors, he has done nothing but get people out, and he has missed bats the entire time, okay? So he's kind of in the weird toy box. One additional problem with Andrews is that he went on the 60-day DL in the minor leagues in June. So I don't know if he's dead, if his arm fell off. I have no idea.
One minor problem for Andrews, he no longer has arms.
I'm still willing to make the trade, though. I will make this guy trade, no problem.
That's only dropped him to a 20-grade fastball.
30 grade. Imagine what a 30-grade fastball is. It's got to be like
I throw a 30-grade fastball.
Something like that. But regardless, it doesn't matter. Maybe he's getting Tommy John surgery. Maybe he's chilling in the Bahamas with Snoop, Bad Bunny, and Tupac. I don't know. I'm still trading for him because he has available options, and the White Sox don't have pitching that has available options that they could easily put at Birmingham or Charlotte, relievers or starters. So I'm trying to kind of rebuild what we have at Charlotte. So you add Daniel Johnson as an outfielder. The White Sox don't really have a decent outfielder there, and then you add this reliever. Last trade, and this is where I'm going to get bodied by the internet. Well, anyone who pays attention long enough into the show. I'm going to trade Garrett Crochet, and I'm going to trade Luis Mises to Toronto. And my return is going to be Alejandro Kirk, who's a catcher. Hits. Teresa, you're going to love Alejandro Kirk because he's like 5'8", 245 pounds. He is 108 thick.
That's my weight.
The extreme. Decent defender and a good hitter. So now the reason why you can actually get him from Toronto is Toronto has 2 very good catchers ahead of him. They have Reese McGuire and they have Danny Jansen, who are both kind of in the pecking order a little bit ahead of him. So you're going to end up with Kirk. He also has options. So he can go straight to Charlotte, even though I signed a starting catcher. We're also going to get right-handed starting pitcher Bowden Francis, who will slide into Charlotte and be a random kind of back end of the rotation starter. And then the third guy I'm going to get is Julian Merriweather, who's often injured, has a minor league option left. Flamethrower would be a great addition to the bullpen. We'll see kind of when he can come through. I don't know what Garrett Crochet's trade value is, but when I wrote the blog about what do we do with Garrett Crochet, it became extremely obvious to me that his highest and best use to the White Sox is to trade him, because I'm terrified of sending him to Winston and trying to stretch him out and him getting hurt. And I think as a reliever, he's good, but I don't know if you're realizing, like, this is more value than him throwing us 55 innings, in my personal opinion. So I'm going to go out and stretch out on the minor league roster a little bit. To close out the minors, I am DFAing Sebi Zavala, Micker Adolfo. Look, we're not getting anything for Micker Adolfo, okay? But there's a 5% chance someone will trade for Micker Adolfo. Most teams are just going to wait until we can't hold him anymore.
Put him in the Garrett Crochet trade.
What's that?
Put him in the Garrett Crochet trade to make yourself feel better.
They got no room for him. Where are they going to put him? They have to let him go too. I mean, he's just going to be out there. I'm also going to –
Toronto, we want you to tell him he's cut.
That's the Nate Jones treatment, actually. That's
exactly.
I'm also going to DFA Blake Rutherford. He's completely useless. He has one option left, but there's no reason to keep him on this 40-man. I'm going to promote Cade McClure. I didn't trade Dallas Keuchel. No, we've kind of beat it to death. I think you're more likely to get a dead cat bounce to a league average year than get real value from a trade with Dallas Keuchel. That's just my personal opinion. I think there's probably a way to work it where you could sneak something out with Keuchel. But for me, it was easier to just say, look, maybe this guy can find and throw ground balls for 100 innings this year to be okay. Circle back real quickly on Kimbrel before I close out the whole roster thing here. Kimbrel, the more I thought about it after I had completed my plan, you know what? It's possible that the $15 million of value, the delta between the 1 and the 16 that you have to pay, in the free agent market is different than what you could get in the trade market, and particularly for the White Sox, because if the White Sox could acquire someone in that process that had options that they could slide to the minors, particularly a pitching prospect of some sort, doesn't even have to be a high one, it probably would be of value to them, more value than paying for that out there in the free agent market. I think it's kind of like tougher to acquire that. Like we were talking about the minor league free agent stuff, but that quality is usually pretty low. And like maybe it's possible there is a way they could trade Kimbrel and get back something that $15 million in the trade might be slightly more valuable than $15 million in the free agent market, especially with Rickon pulling the levers. So I'm back open to it being a trade, but I did not do that. I just fucking cut him loose because I'm basic. I couldn't manage it. So my roster is this: a catcher I have Grandal, first Abreu, second VR, shortstop Timmy, third base Yohan, left field Eloy, center Luis Robert, right field Conforto, DH Vaughn. My bench is Sheets, Engel, Pena, and Harrison. My rotations: Lynn, Giolito, Cease, Keuchel, Kopech. My bullpen is Hendricks, Bummer, Velasquez, McHugh, Ruiz, Cordero, Robles, and Ronaldo Lopez to close that out. And the back of my 40-man, because I was worried about building it. The remaining guys in the 40-man roster: Jace Fry, Danny Mendick, Romy Gonzalez, Matt Foster, Alejandro Kirk in trade, Clayton Andrews in trade, Jake Berger, Julian Merriweather in trade, Daniel Johnson in trade, Stever, Lambert, Burr, McClure from promotion, and Bowden Francis in trade. That's it. 170, or actually, hang on a second. 168.7 million if we go on pure cash. If you go on how much Jose Abreu costs the roster as opposed to what he's actually getting paid, it would be 172.7.
Yeah, I took the 18 million version of Abreu.
Abreu? I put 14 in my thing.
14?
Yeah, because he's only getting 14 this year. He's getting 14 in cash, and he gets $1 million every single year for 4 more years.
Oh, yeah, the deferred payment.
The deferred money. So I did it kind of different. That's how much cash he's getting versus the 18 is what they're charging the payroll guy.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
That's
So the question that I have for you with your plan is, how do you pivot if Michael Conforto accepts a qualifying offer from the New York Mets?
That's a great question because I don't particularly love the other right field options out there for the pricing. I know you guys brought Marte out there. I don't mind Marte, but Marte doesn't solve the power problems, right? Materially, the White Sox need to hit more home runs. Now, maybe it's just Eloy and Andrew Vaughn stop hitting so many ground balls, and we careen ourselves to those home runs. They're not going to be able to afford Nick Castellanos. Maybe there's an alternate universe where you're comfortable signing JD Martinez and playing Andrew Vaughn in right field. Like that would be the
I'd
case.
rather play JD Martinez in right field.
Because as I heard, JD Martinez is going to opt out of his deal there, and so that's a real ass kicker at the plate. He was older, but he's not. You kind of only want to play him in outfield versus National League. So maybe that's kind of the direction I would go. But you need to stick in right field.
Okay. Now because I love the Colin McHugh. I've wanted him on the White Sox for a while. Naperville. He comes from Naperville or Naperthrill. I'm halfway through my cookies and cream pint, so the alcohol is kicking in.
Yes.
But the Michael
got 2
Conforto
hours to go.
Yeah, the Michael Conforto idea. That's your headliner. You're busy, but Conforto is your headliner.
That's the main thing, right?
And we don't know. We'll know in a few days if he gets the qualifying offer. There are many reports out of New York that believe that the Mets are going to whoever's calling the shots right now. They just got turned down.
Supposed to be Sandy Alderson. Right?
Another assistant general manager just turned the Mets job down. But if whoever's running the Mets right now decides that they place a qualifying offer on Conforto, there are many that think that Conforto is going to pick that up. He's going to accept it to get the $18.4 million and try to have a bounce back season. So he can leverage that into a bigger deal. He's got to be mindful, though. He's 29. So you're entering your age 30 season. So don't get huge aspirations. You're not as good as George Springer, Michael.
Right.
So
and you can't handle center field. So
yeah,
there's a difference here.
Yeah, exactly. So I know the Conforto, he's been very popular in the last couple of years at SoxMachine during the offseason plans. And it makes a lot of sense. His situation, though, I just don't know. There's not a lot of clarity on what's going on with Michael Conforto's camp and his near future with the New York Mets. But at this moment, anyone that's asking questions about the Mets, the honest answer is, I don't know. Who's in charge of the Mets? I don't know. Who's calling the shots for the Mets? I don't know. Nobody knows. And that makes the waters really muddy right now.
I heard an interview of a reporter from New York City, and they asked about Steve Cohen and said, kind of the reports coming out where Steve Cohen, someone who had interviewed for the position, Josh, said Steve Cohen is probably either the worst person to work for or the best. And they couldn't tell completely in the interview. So that's kind of a weird, that's a very binary situation there. Like either it's going to be terrible and like no one's going to take the risk of it. It could be terrible, right? So like it's probably why they're still sitting there waiting for something.
So
that's why Han won't go there.
That's probably true. So a few thoughts with the plans, and this kind of stems from, for those that didn't get a chance to read my off-season plan, the Craig Kimbrel situation. When you look at closers in the market, there's not a lot of options to be super confident in high leverage closers. You got Kenley Jansen of the Dodgers, who is technically a free agent, but he really picked up his production. And I just have a hard time with both parties deciding that they're going to split. The Dodgers have a need for somebody to close out games. Jansen's been with the organization forever. I just think that makes the most sense. So if Jansen stays with the Dodgers, if the White Sox pick up the option for Kimbrel, even though Bob Nightingale, their media megaphone, has already put it out there that the White Sox would want to trade him, the White Sox are going to have phone calls about Kimbrel and about his availability. And that's where I thought of the idea of the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies need a closer. They desperately need to address their bullpen. I'm not saying they're running out of time, but that is a really good team. The National League East is very competitive, and they got a lot of money tied up to that roster, and especially in their front office and managerial spots, and Joe Girardi managing the team, and Dave Dombrowski as the general manager. I would not be surprised if there is something already in the works between the White Sox and the Phillies, because on November 9th, there's going to be the general manager meetings, and a lot of these trade conversations get sparked in the offseason during these meetings. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear more trade rumors next week between the White Sox and Phillies concerning Craig Kimbrel. Dallas,
Josh,
go ahead.
On the Kimbrel thing, like I've heard a lot of people talk about the Phillies, and I get it. And I would say that if we see that the Sox pick up the option, then I would assume that there's already something there.
Yeah.
But my question is, and what keeps confounding me, is like, okay, so let's say the Phillies are like, yes, we need a closer. Why would you not go, I can get Raisel Iglesias 2 years, 20 million or something like that, as opposed to a guy that I'm equally unsure of who's going to be 1 year, 16?
Okay, so I think other teams would look at those two players and say, I'd rather have Kimbrel. Really? Dombrowski has a history with Kimbrel. that's why there's so much smoke coming out of Philadelphia right now. It's like they're announcing a new pope soon when it comes to Craig Kimbrell. If the White Sox follow your guys' route and they buy him out, give me odds of Kimbrell signing with the Phillies before opening day. Like I would be very confident in picking the Philadelphia Phillies signing Craig Kimbrell.
As a free agent.
As a free agent, absolutely.
But what are you going to give up? What are you going to give up to say, I want Craig Kimbrell from you, Sox, and we're going to take the money on? As opposed to, I'm going to go get Iglesias. Or even, I'm going to go get someone who was equally good and fell apart, and I'm going to get like a Kendall Graveman. And I could do this way cheaper.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like these all exist. Ian Kennedy's out there. Like there's not like
they have Ian Kennedy. The Phillies traded for Ian Kennedy, and he did jack for them. It's not about money for the Phillies. The Phillies have no problem carrying a top 6 payroll. It is strictly about quality for the Phillies. And while, yes, you are right, Chirizi, there are cheaper options. That's not where Philadelphia is trying to take this. They're not looking for the cheapest option. They're looking for the best quality option. And if Kenley Jensen's going to go back to the Dodgers, well, then everybody knows in baseball, if you need a closer, your best option is going to be Craig Kimbrell. And if the White Sox
I don't know why that's the best option.
Yeah,
you gotta go call him.
Shit.
Why is that certain? Because he had a down period when he was with the Cubs, and that was a few years ago. It was after he had waited out and signed and all this stuff. Then he popped back up. Now he's having another down period. He's he could be 35 or 30, 34, 35 next year. Like, I don't think it's certain that, like, here's what I think. You pick up the option, unless you have a deal in hand, they'll tell you to fuck yourselves and wait out the entire goddamn market and drag your ass down and like make you make the deal they want to make. I mean, I don't understand how the team making the deal doesn't have the leverage. I mean, we're kind of like putting Kimbrell in the spot where we think like he's not an elite closer. Like, he looked like shit when he was here. Like, I get it, the whole difference between closing and setting up, but he looked like crap when he was here. Like, I mean, is it really that big of a difference? Like, this question.
I guess the one thing that doesn't speak well is that he stayed in the same city. It's not like he had to pick up and move across country and was living out of a hotel and like, any of that kind of shit.
Right. There's not that.
It wasn't like it was a big, huge difference. Like, he should have been okay. And I don't buy into the, he should have been the last guy and it's all in their heads. It's a head thing and closers are like this. The fuck it is, dude. You're a professional fucking athlete. You got to get out there and just fucking throw the goddamn ball.
And the Phillies,
you get lucky.
The Phillies got to fill a bunch of fucking positions. It's not like they got a set lineup right now. They just got rid of McCutchen too, right? Like they just dumped him, and not that he was like
not dumped him, but he's a free agent.
Well, they didn't pick up his option. Like they had an option on him, right? I thought
they did have an option, and they declined the option.
Yeah, they declined the option. So like they've got to pick up some other players. Like I don't know. I get Josh. I agree. Their payroll is going to be way higher than the Sox, but they also have to compete in a division that's got a lot of uncertainty, and the Nationals have almost a clean slate except for a couple pitchers. Like, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver around this money.
It's the most interesting, like, of all the things that are out there right now, in my opinion. Like, I'm excited to see the way it plays out, and I hope I'm wildly wrong on this shit. But my gut feeling is like, I don't know how they squeeze enough value out of this to like really, because you're on the hook once you sink it and say we're picking it up, you're on the hook, and then the other team would say, I got cold feet. Why don't you wait? Why don't you simmer out for 6 months and we'll figure out what we're doing over here. We look through the free agent market. I mean, there's a lot of risk in there.
But here's the thing, to borrow a phrase from Chirizi.
Yes.
I know both of you love Iglesias. You
oh,
both
no, I
love
don't.
him.
Well,
You should. He's really good.
He's good. He's very home run bally.
Now, one thing about
Raciel Iglesias is
the real
probably
guy
going to be
you can't
asking
put in the
for a Liam Hendricks type of contract.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, if you look at his numbers and the way that he threw this year and his save totals, closers today make more than $14 million a season. So from a Phillies perspective, Kimbrel's 1 year, and that's where it wasn't a sexy return, but in my idea, the White Sox could get a left-handed reliever like Jose Alvarado, who could hit 98 miles per hour. Yeah, control is an issue, but you got Garrett Crochet on the roster already, so it's the same damn thing. And Adonis Medina is this quadruple A starting pitcher that keeps going back and forth between making starts at Philadelphia and triple A for the Phillies. So if you need some starting pitching depth, well, there you go. I felt like that was a better use of than just spending $1 million to tell Craig Kimbrel to go away. Because the other aspect here is that the White Sox have to save face. And this is something that is being talked about, and this is very real in the front office. Can we simply just pay Craig Kimbrel to go away, and then all of a sudden we traded Nick Madrigal to the Chicago Cubs for Craig Kimbrel to have him for 3 months?
But you know what?
We kind of need to do something to save our assets.
To make it look like, okay, well, we still got something. There was some residual value to this asset, right?
You know, I disagree, and fuck that. Because part of the problem is, or part of the things that the same people are saying, the White Sox are never take risks. They're not risk takers. They don't do that. They fucking took a risk. And you know what? It didn't work. So you have to fucking eat it. Maybe you have to eat it. And to say, like, you know what? It didn't happen. So it like we lost this guy, okay? And we can pick up a guy that's probably going to be, not as good, but like for maybe less money than a Nick Madrigal. And my guy, let me look his name up.
Wilmer Flores.
Wilmer Flores, exactly. So we're good.
I got you.
I don't even. But
your hype man's got you.
He's got your back.
But like seriously, you can't be on both sides of the fence. You can't say you never take risks. You should take risks, and then when you take a risk, say, "Why the fuck did you take this risk?" You have to like give them a little bit of grace. They rolled the dice. It didn't fucking work. I don't know. It sounded good at the time, and Nick Madrigal wasn't helping us win shit last year. So fuck it. I don't give a fuck.
But again, so even if you like Raciel Iglesias and Iglesias signs for Liam Hendricks money, there's still going to be another team that needs a closer. So from Rick Hahn's perspective, if I pick up the option, I have this poker chip in my possession, and if a team really needs a closer and they are desperate, I got an asset that I can trade.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right, and maybe getting all the way to the end would work to his advantage too. Like waiting the whole guy, having him and holding him till February could work to his advantage because some team, it's like musical chairs. Some team didn't get the closer they wanted, and they're like, I don't want to sign Kirby Yates and what if this shit. I want to get a real guy here,
I want to trade for Craig Kimbrel and what if this shit.
I'll trade for $16 million, but at least he was good a little bit last year. Like I'll take that chance.
Yeah. So to your point, someone that made a lot more money than they should have because of the way that the market played out. Let's talk about Dallas Keuchel. I think the White Sox are going to have to eat at least $8 million to trade Dallas Keuchel. And Buster Posey's surprising retirement kind of blew up my idea as far as the return with the San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants need 4 starting pitchers. 4. They got 1 right now under contract.
Treasy, loosen it up, baby. You threw a no-hitter in Little League. Loosen that shit up now.
I like Gausman. I think Gausman is going to return back to the Giants, but the Giants need 3 more. And I think the success that the White Sox had with Lance Lynn this past year is going to inspire another move. I would not be surprised if the White Sox go and trade for another starting pitcher and maybe delay Michael Kopech going into the starting rotation full time.
Okay.
I would pay attention to the situation in Oakland. It sounds like the Kmart Blue Light Special is on at Oakland as they let Bob Melvin go, their manager, to the San Diego Padres for no compensation. Remember, the White Sox traded Ozzie Guillen to the Miami Marlins, or then the Florida Marlins. So the White Sox got something back when they let Ozzie go to the Marlins when he was still under contract. The Athletics got nothing. They just look at it as, take our manager, that's a salary dump. And there's a lot of rumors coming out of Oakland in which they have all of these players entering the final year of their arbitration. They don't think they're strong enough to overtake the Houston Astros. So the Athletics are in this sell mode. Wow. And there are two particular starting pitchers for the Oakland Athletics that I think are to draw a ton of interest. Left-hander Sean Manaea and right-hander Chris Bassett, which was part of the Chicago White Sox, and he was part of the Jeff Samardzija trade, and he got hit by the line drive at Guaranteed Rate Field this past September.
So brutal. So brutal.
Really brutal. I expect both of those pitchers to be moved. I would not be shocked if the White Sox are interested in either of them. So even if they do decide to stick with Dallas Keuchel, I don't think that prevents the White Sox to make another trade for a starting pitcher who's entering the last year of control, just like Lance Lynn, and acquire that starting pitcher, put them in the rotation, and maybe delay Michael Kopech's accession into the starting rotation and maybe still make him as a swing man. And that way, if you get into Memorial Day weekend and Dallas Keuchel still sucks, you can Jordan Dinks him and you can cut him like they did with Adam Eaton, eat the cash, and Michael Kopech's in your starting rotation.
Yes. It actually
Jordan Dinks too.
I was going to say John Dinks.
Oh, John Dinks. Yeah, Jordan Dinks.
But it also reinforces your depth artificially, right? It kind of pushes both. Because you're going to keep Ronaldo Lopez on the roster as well. So you got kind of the two starting pitchers working a little longer, but you got a little extra depth. Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that angle because the White Sox are aware, they're acutely aware of the fact that they don't have a lot of depth and that they got lucky as hell with all these guys making all these starts last year. They know it. They're aware.
Yeah, and with right field and second base, there's just not a lot of options. I want to talk about Marcus Semien. If Jim is right, because Jim set the $170 million payroll budget, if he's right, there's no chance in hell Marcus Semien is coming to the White Sox.
Right.
That blows by whatever budget the White Sox will set for themselves. And I know that sucks to hear as a fan. But Semien is signed on with Scott Boras now, which means that Semien is looking for a $100+ million contract. That's not going to stop the White Sox from asking, but there's going to be serious interest in Marcus Semien, and that could get really crazy as far as what kind of deal he signs for. I'm fine if the White Sox decide to let go of Cesar Hernandez and maybe give Lurie Garcia an opportunity to start every day at second base. But I would like them to, piggyback on my Sox Summers' idea, like get someone like Wilmer Flores to provide some backup in case that experiment doesn't go well again like it did in the first half of last year. And then in right field, man, you have some internal options, but I don't know about you guys. I'm really concerned about Adam Engel and his ability to last an entire season.
Yeah.
3 hamstring injuries in a single season.
I told these guys at the end of 2020, I think we saw Adam Engel's prime.
Probably did.
And then 2021, he got injured, and he's getting old. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he's getting on the back end of a guy who has those assets, right? The speed and all that shit. That stuff, yeah. Well, the unit, that shit regresses. I mean, and he hasn't been able to hold it together.
That's one of the reasons I had Marte as one of my guys. Is he can play center field if needed,
right?
And then you fill in, Yeah, I mean, it had to get brutal out there, but you fill in,
at least you make it
for Vaughn in right field if Adam Engel's hurt, because I don't know, I'm more confident in Luis Robert being on the field every day than I am with Adam Engel.
Yeah,
and I tried in my mind to trade Adam Engel, and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah. So I mean, those are your internal options. Is either you go with someone with Adam Engel, or you decide to give Andrew Vaughn a shot at right field. And I know a lot of people roll their eyes at that idea, and he's going to have to put in a ton of work in spring training to show that he can move from left to right field. And boy, your corner outfield spots are pretty brutal defensively for the White Sox.
Josh,
however,
if he puts up a 140 WRC plus, I don't give a fuck how bad he plays.
Well, right. Okay, so look at the Atlanta Braves outfield during the World Series. Adam Duvall is playing center field, and Justin
messaged me. He goes, Jock Peterson in right field is actively trying to injure himself.
Yeah.
Every time we try to field a fly ball.
So we know Justin, right, from Bad Guy Radio.
Yeah.
And I'm 3/4 through a 10% beer, so I'm not trying to bury Justin, but Justin was trying to logically say that Adam Duvall is a better defensive outfielder than many think, and he could stick in center field.
No.
That is batshit crazy to me. He's barely a left fielder, and he was catching the fly balls that were hit directly at him, so that's good. Yep. That's good. But it is amazing to me defensively and how the Braves got away with the outfield configuration that they had. And they won the World Series. So maybe outfield defense, especially in the corners, is not that all that important. It is about, can these guys hit? And Adam Duvall can absolutely hit. He's a very good run producer. We saw what Jorge Soler did. Eddie Rosario helped the Braves upset the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series. If your corner outfielders can hit, you can live with that. I mean, as White Sox fans, I'm sorry, but Maglio Ordonez and Carlos Lee were not great defensive outfilders by any stretch of the imagination, but they could rake. That's right. When Jermaine Dye was with the White Sox, he was way past his prime defensively.
He couldn't move. We sat right behind him, Treasy. He could not fucking move.
Yeah, no. He could not move. So if you want to go with the internal options, I'm in the boat of go see what Andrew Vaughn can do defensively in right field during spring training and hope, fingers crossed, that he takes a step forward in his hitting development. Why? Because he's cheap. He's going to make like $600,000 next year. And if that's the way you're going to go, that's fine, but you need to spend serious money in either trading for a guy or signing a key free agent to help bolster this team. There's not too many holes in this team. I believe in the core. The core will take the White Sox as far as they desire in 2022. And those are your guys who bat 1 through 6 in the lineup, and that is Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, and Dylan Cease right now, and the key guys in the bullpen. They are the key guys. You have the key guys. It is all about supplementing the key guys now in this upcoming offseason. There are opportunities out there. I really like the ideas that you guys brought to the table tonight and what I have seen at SoxMachine.com. I just do not want to see, nor do I expect to see the White Sox not be active this offseason. I know there's a whole CBA coming up, but I do expect the White Sox to be busy in trying to improve this team to win the American League pennant in 2022.
Starts tomorrow, Josh.
Yeah, I mean we got the presser tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Josh, you have a player option right now.
I'm in, man. I did some research. I did some research for this.
Attaboy.
Okay, this is
glad
rough.
you're staying.
We're gonna do. We got a few things left. We got a quick weight loss check-in. Then we got a quick beef loaf commercial, and then we're gonna get into a draft. So, Josh, I'm glad you're staying with us. This is gonna be a wild ride for the last hour and 45 minutes that we got left.
We're going old school tonight. I love it, man.
So, quick weight loss check-in, and I'm gonna start because I mentioned this earlier. I got a new practice space with the band, right? And so this week I have done terribly for my diet. Now, I've been on the bike. That's been good.
Yep.
But like Tuesday, I messaged Quarantine. I was like, man, shit day at work. Let's just go out tonight. We'll watch the World Series. Had some beers. Had a bacon burger with like onion rings on it and shit.
Boy, good job, kid.
Yesterday, I'm at work. I haven't been eating lunch at work. My buddy shows up at work. He's like, hey, you want to do some Jets pizza for lunch? I was like, yes, I'm in. And all I'm thinking is like, there's no way I come in even at the weight I was last week. Then I went to practice that night. Like I said, new space. It's our own space, but it's smaller than our old room, which was like a large room. Of course, it had 5 bands in it. But this room is just us, smaller room. Holy sweatbox, man. I swear to I sweat so much that like I got in the car to drive home, and like I almost took my shirt off. I had like my jacket off and everything, my hat off, and I was like, should I do a shirtless drive home? I'm this sweaty. I'm this sweaty. Yeah, it was 32 degrees out. I was that sweaty, and I was like, I might do a shirt. I'll leave the shirt on. I decided to leave the shirt on. That's how just drenched. And Beef, it wasn't about being shirtless.
Yeah.
It was about getting too much sweat on the beautiful Mazda interior.
Yeah, you can't do that. I agree. That's a bad move.
But I woke up, I rode the bike, and I'm like, all right, let me see where I'm at right now. And I was like a pound underneath last week, and I was like, I sweat out 5 pounds yesterday. That's the only logical explanation.
My son, someone, do you think Treasy is juking the stats by exercising right before he weighs in?
No,
Okay.
I don't think he'd do that.
I don't either. I just wanted to.
I don't think I immediately lose weight from doing that.
No,
Yeah,
I mean I lost a pound working out one time, like in sweat, like literally, like I lost a pound, like during the working out, because I sweat a lot. But are you running around like Michael Anthony in?
No, so
You're running like Michael Anthony and Van Halen, like running around, or Cheech and Chong and that fucking contest, you know, when they're jumping around and stuff. It's like,
no, but
why are you sweating so much?
But think about a like 8x12 room.
Yeah, dorm room.
Right. But filled with gear. And you know the gear that we use, right? Like,
yeah,
so
that's true.
And think about the heat coming off the amps and all that, and then 4 adult men in a room moving. Like the heat in that room is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
and so like we opened the door, and like it felt like it was like a fucking York peppermint patty commercial. It was like fucking
Get the fuck out of here.
Which
like
are delicious, by the way.
Snow came into the room when not the wrapper, but like snow flew into the room as we opened the door.
Gotta be technical, I suppose.
How dare you? I'll be honest with you. I'm in the lead so far in this weight loss contest.
Shocker.
But I've got ambitious goals. I'm trying to get I weighed in at 268.3 pounds. I'm trying to, in the next 3 weeks, get down to 260 by Thanksgiving. And I'm going to try to get down to 250 by the time we bring in the new year, probably together, hopefully. Those are ambitious because I'm trying to hit a certain goal by opening day. What I was surprised at this week, I'll be honest with you guys, is my man, My Sox Summer. And the reason why is because he was trailing pretty big after 2 weeks. And then he had a big week this week. And I wasn't expecting it because he tweeted on like Saturday, I'm going to the dispensary to get a bunch of edibles. And I messaged Treasy right when he did that. I said, My Sox Summer is going to come in overweight again because he got the fucking munchies from eating edibles. Then I messaged him like 5 minutes later. I said, wouldn't it be great if My Sox Summer started losing weight like a motherfucker on edibles? How many sponsorships will we get? How much could he brag that I took a 5-mag and I got so fucked up I forgot to eat for 3 days? How good would that be? That's a weight loss plan, in my opinion. My Sox Summer, tell me that's what you did. Please say that's
clearly.
What you did.
Yes, Midway Dispensary, please sponsor me. No, I honestly, like, I never was a big munchie guy. When I got high.
Bullshit.
Like, no, I'm serious.
I'm looking at you.
I'm not kidding you. I'm more of a munchy guy after I drink. And honestly, the drinking is that's the biggest thing. I also didn't smoke a lot when I got high. Like that was another smoke like cigarettes and stuff. Like for some reason, I don't know why, but I just didn't. So the same those two things. When I got high most was in college. I didn't have any money, so I couldn't go out and go buy good food or anything. And nobody wants to eat Hamburger Helper when they're high.
Oh yeah, White Castle's really expensive.
Well, we didn't have a White Castle in DeKalb, Illinois, dickhead. So we didn't have that shit. We had a Wendy's. That might have worked. But Yeah, I put it out there. Somebody said it today. I probably lost muscle mass this week because I wasn't at the gym for I missed 4 workouts. And I did a lot of cardio. I walked every day because the days I couldn't go work out, I was walking. So I made sure that I walked for almost 2 hours every day. So that's no joke. If you keep moving, by the time I get home, I'm looking all fat and bad, but very tired. So I definitely walk a lot. But
Tuesday, Thursday are our walk days.
Man. Yeah,
Thursday the hills. We killed
the
hills.
And I'm definitely gonna keep doing that. And then got back into the gym yesterday and did a little weights. And I think I told you, Loaf, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, I can see that I'm skinnier. Yeah. And it was mostly, I think it's mostly because of muscle stuff, because it been 6 days. Okay, yep. All right. So, yep. So yeah, it's great. It's going really good. All right, let's do the strap because I got a really good one.
Beef, tell us about the YouTube.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us on live stream right now and haven't subscribed, make sure you tickle the undercarriage of the subscribe button and get on board. If you're listening on the podcast feed, never enjoyed the eroticism that is the YouTube version of the show, just come to youtube.com/Fromthe108. Hit the subscribe button. Our previous goal was 1,000 subscribers, which we've already hit. Yeah. Our new goal, 2 million subscribers. That's the stratosphere we want to get into because Bonita Stakey watches all our Minecraft YouTubers. She was on Treasy and I. Yeah, this is the poverty Minecraft YouTuber, 3.5 million subscribers. We got to get in that range, Treasy. We got to get in that range.
That was the funny thing. We were telling Bonita at dinner, hey, we want to get to 2 million like your Minecraft YouTubers have. And she's like, who only has that many?
It was embarrassing. She's like, here's the main guys, 15 million, 10 million. Well, hang on, here's one of the bit players, 3.5 million. Maybe you guys could get to that level.
Oh man,
it's embarrassing.
It was slightly embarrassing.
It was humbling.
I legit got.
She's like, but 1,000's really good for you guys. She gave us one of those. It's like, thanks.
She gave us the I love that for you.
I got this text today from my sister. And she said, I overheard him, which is my nephew, telling his friend the other day that his uncle was a famous YouTuber. And the friend responded, he must make a lot of money. And my nephew said, oh, yeah. And I was like,
yes.
This motherfucker's been with me in
correct.
8 thrift stores in a day. He knows I don't make no money. And he knows I don't spend no money. So I don't understand. I'm like, don't tell him that we make 37 cents a show because he might want to cut.
He just thinks you're cheap.
I am cheap.
All right.
Not as cheap as Wally, though.
Guys, it's draft time.
Yes.
It's draft
Let's do this, baby.
So just for my own eyes so that I can keep track of things, and we're going to go Beef, My Sock Summer, Josh, I'll turn it around.
Beautiful.
And we'll see if I can keep track of that. I probably won't. But we'll see. We'll see how I do.
I'm gonna try and write these down. I'll try to make sure I got them noted on this.
I don't think we're gonna overlap at all in this, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I felt like I could just write out 4 of these and be.
So I did 6.
Yeah.
I have 16. I have 16 just in case.
Damn.
Just in case we completely overlap. Beef, you're up first. Knock it out. Biggest bust. Let's go. The draft is biggest busts. And you can take that however you want to take that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do not close it off to just sports. It could be absolutely anything.
It could be
take it in any direction you want.
Inventions.
Yeah.
Beef Loaf, #1 overall pick. Biggest busts.
I'm going to go sports first, and I feel bad that Billy Wires is already asleep and he's not in the live comments because he would really love my pick here.
Oh, man.
I'm going to pick someone that I've had a little bit of a quarrel with. Well, kind of. On the Twitter machine, one of the biggest busts in NBA history. Someone who was supposed to be an all-time great player. Someone who came directly out of high school and went to the NBA. The nickname is Chocolate Thunder. The real name is Daryl Dawkins. And the Twitter handle is @ThunderDunk53. And the reason why I know that Twitter handle, I never knew it before, was I was having a little bit of a satirical conversation, and that Twitter handle came blaring at me to whoop my ass and say, don't you dare talk about my husband who has passed away. It was Daryl Dawkins' widow. Came and bodied me right after I said Keith Hernandez could snort up the entire 1986 Mets, as if that was a serious conversation. So I'm going to go Daryl Dawkins, number one bust of all time. Easy number one for me.
It's gonna kill you now. I can't wait till Teresi tags her when he puts this stuff on the thing.
I'm actually gonna tag the account and just be like, Beefloaf talks shit about Daryl Dawkins at 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't even tell her that. Say after 2 hours. No. All right, we ready?
Summer, who you got for your biggest bust?
All right, so because we did this, I could write out what I was gonna say for each person, and here we go. Won the Heisman as a sophomore. Was a finalist for the Heisman Award 3 out of his 4 years in college. NFL first-round draft pick. Played backup behind future NFL neckbeard legend Kyle Orton. He was homeschooled and loves Jesus. So much so, he remained a virgin until he was 32 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you one of the biggest busts ever. Tim Tebow. Not even God himself could help Tim stay on a football or baseball team despite given more chances than he rightfully deserved. The guy sells a lot of jerseys, but that guy sucks at sports. Professional sports. He was good in college. I was also kind of bummed out that Billy wasn't here for that because the religion stuff is right up his alley. Right up his alley.
We went sport 1-2.
All right, so we got basketball, football. Josh, what do you got?
I'm going movies.
Yes.
I'm going with The Adventures of Pluto Nash, starring Eddie Murphy.
Number 3.
So for those not aware, it cost in 2002 $100 million to make the movie Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Oh my God.
It made $7 million. And this is coming after Shrek. So Shrek was made in 2001. Eddie Murphy is back, right? He is the voice of Donkey. And they threw $100 million for his next movie, which is The Adventures of Pluto Nash. And it made $7 million.
I can't believe I have to cross one off my list, but yes,
That's
I had
crazy.
that. The $7.1 million gross was just like, I was like, holy shit, is that real? Like, did no one ever saw this? Someone put Waterworld in. Waterworld comes way closer to making money than Pluto Nash does.
It does. So
Man, I can't believe that got in there before Leonard 6. I'm impressed.
I think Leonard 6 was much cheaper to make. They didn't have to pay any legal fees in that. So,
Not at the beginning. How dare you?
So
Chorizo, you got the turnaround.
You got the
you
got two.
So first up, the year is 2016. The country is Ecuador. 89 tons of cocaine are seized in one of the largest drug busts in the world's history. 89 tons of cocaine. My Sox Summer, what could you do with 89 tons of cocaine? Other than lose more weight than me and Beefloaf.
Translate that to how many Beanie Babies you could buy. Go.
Well, no, I don't know about that, but I could stuff a lot of it in Beanie Babies. No, that's amazing. I mean, we that would be the 108 weight loss plan, and we could take care of like all of the South Side of Chicago.
I mean,
that's a lot.
89 tons. Think about it this way: a car weighs like what? 1 ton? 2 tons?
2 tons.
Man.
Yeah.
You have 45 cars.
45 and a half cars.
Cocaine.
Insane.
Fuck out of here.
Like,
how
I
do
don't
they
even know
seize this?
how do you? I mean, like, how do you not seize this?
No,
Like-
I mean,
Like, what was this coming in on?
well, that's what I'm asking. Was this like on a barge or was this one of the submarines?
This was
Well, it's
one
gotta
of
be a
those
barge.
boats seizures. So like they must have had like every like container on a container truck was just filled with cocaine.
I feel like they took a risk. Like the Sox took a risk with like Craig Kimbrell.
Cranberry crumble.
And they just said, you know what? What are they
80
going to do? Check every container? And apparently they did.
Mailman Jack says 89 tons of cocaine is 100 Miatas. I totally agree with that, Jack. I think you're right about that.
It's easily.
Yeah, I'm no drug logistics expert, but if I lost 89 tons of cocaine, I'm probably dead. Like somebody died.
Oh yeah, dude. This is way more offensive than an own goal in the World Cup. All right.
You are absolutely hoping to get arrested. Please arrest me and protect me right now.
Hey, get 89 boats. No,
Nate
fuck
Newton
it.
had only one car full of marijuana. Someone had 45 cars full of cocaine, and thought we're getting this in there.
This will be fun.
So my second pick, and this is Michael Jordan's first pick, so it's a little sad, but this is Kwame Brown.
Yeah,
Kwame Brown, and one of the quotes I saw about Kwame Brown when I was looking this up was he was 7 foot and could barely palm a basketball. But that's not why I'm picking him. Why I'm picking him is while I was looking this up, I came across a story of there was a guy who was leaving a birthday party, and he left with a full uneaten cake, like this big, like 32-inch cake. And as he's walking down the street, he sees a bunch of guys from the Lakers, and he tries to take a picture with one of them. And Kwame Brown apparently took the cake from him and threw it at him.
What a sweet guy.
The guy attempted to press charges, and they were like, we're not pressing charges against someone throwing a cake at you at 2 a.m. But to think that, like, a guy was drafted number 1 overall by Michael Jordan, and the most important thing I could talk about is that he threw a cake at a guy at 2 a.m. That is the definition of a bust. That is the absolute definition of a bust.
The problem I had with Kwame Brown is that he played in the NBA for 12 seasons. Like, it wasn't
averaging 6.6 points per game.
I don't give a shit. He's still there, man. Like that. Like Tim Tebow couldn't fucking play like in the NFL for more than like 2 seasons.
Tim Tebow won a playoff game, so go fuck yourself.
He did win a playoff game. All right.
Josh.
Wow.
Josh.
Kwame Brown once had a 30-point game with 19 rebounds. Like his best game ever.
What a bust.
On St. Patrick's Day. On St. Patrick's Day 2004. 30 points, 19 rebounds against Sacramento. That's the best game of Kwame Brown's career. All right. Not going sports.
I get 19 rebounds against Sacramento. No offense.
Yeah. Not going sports.
Nice.
I'm going with New Coke. And New Coke got Coca-Cola in huge trouble. So the backstory is the whole Pepsi challenge in the mid-'80s to late 80s. Pepsi was gaining a lot of market share on Coca-Cola. So in their infinite wisdom, someone in marketing decided, let's reformulate Coca-Cola and call it New Coke. And it lost a lot of people jobs at Coca-Cola. and somebody with the genius idea is like, hey, we should make Old Coke. And now Coca-Cola dominates the entire world as they go back to the old formula. Everybody tries the
classic,
new,
right?
old, the classic Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And, they strike the deal with McDonald's. McDonald's gets their version of classic Coca-Cola, and the rest is history. But, new Coca-Cola was a huge bomb. It really hurt Coca-Cola, and it lost a lot of people jobs. And I remember taking some business classes in college, and that was a topic for a week in my business class was the disaster that was new Coca-Cola.
That's a great one.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, like, it's like, here, have this, and people are like,
this sucks.
No one likes it. even Coke 2 survived in Mexican bodegas for years.
New Coke was like, get the fuck out of here. No one's interested in this shit.
You're taking up the space shelf for Mr. Pibb. Get the fuck out.
I'm moving along.
Mr. Pibb's terrible.
Oh,
I
man.
can't do it.
I expected that from
You know what?
That's why I brought it up.
That's from a Dr. Pepper guy. I will tell you, Mr. Pibb is delicious, and we will. I can't wait till me and
It
me and
literally
Josh
says
are
on their bottle, this is a spicy cola. Why is it spicy?
It's because it's delicious.
Spicy's never a good way to describe something. All right.
My
you ready?
Sox summer, you're up, man.
For a time in the late 80s, she owned a share of the Blue Sox. And the Blue Sox were a Chicago White Sox affiliate from 1988 to 92. She once was reported as saying that her fellow busty sex symbol, Dolly Parton, was flat-chested compared to her. And her measurements are 60, 23, 39, an I cup compared to Dolly, who was a 40, 20, 36 double D. Her first escapade on the field at the age of 17 was to kiss Pete Rose in 1971 at Riverfront Stadium, and it was a dare from her friend. In an interview, she reported that when she buzzed Pete, all he could say was, "You crazy fucking broad." He called her the next day to apologize for his language. Regarding Rose, she said, "I tell people my career started with a bet and Pete's ended with one." Ladies and gentlemen, Morgana, the kissing bandit.
I did have Morgana Roberts on my list.
Good job.
I love that quote. I've never heard that quote though.
Yeah,
I had to go to Boobapedia for that one. I did not donate
Boobapedia.
the money that they asked.
How
for.
much have you donated to
Yeah,
that?
really.
Is in comparison to
I
Wikipedia?
haven't. Now,
Donated all in semen, Treasy.
the most unironic or the best thing that I found out is that Morgana will sign through the mail. So if you send her stuff to her address, she will sign it. And when she does her M, she puts nipples on the top of the M. It's like a great autograph. So,
Your wife will love you getting that one.
I
Yeah.
told her already that I'm doing this. I go, I'm going to get a stat ball with her and have her put the measurements on the side, which I saw a couple times that she was doing. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, Morgana, the kissing bandit. Look her up, folks. I remember seeing her in Playboy the first time and was just like jaw floor, like, because you'd heard about her and you'd seen her like on Wacky World of Sports on Saturday night mornings, you know.
It's such a strange bit.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was culminated for people our age when we watched Kingpin, and she shows up in Kingpin.
Yeah.
And it's just like a totally ridiculous scene.
like-
yeah, it's just like
Yes.
it's just like
Moved the whole way.
Ern McCracken just being a piece of shit.
And he points over there and people look and then he grabs her bust.
Beef.
Yeah.
Turn it around.
I got back to back here. I'm going to go with a food product first. It was something that
Oh,
was
nice.
incredibly fucking hyped when we were like at the end of our high school years. And we had a random, sandwich shop guy tell us it's just a donut. And that motherfucker was right. It is Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme was out there. People were buying the Krispy Kreme stock. It has shrunk the fuck back down to some niche bullshit, which is where it belongs. But at one point, it was going to replace all the donuts that existed anywhere. Didn't really happen. It's just a fucking glazed donut. It tastes like air. You could probably eat 20 of them. Krispy Kreme was one of the hugest busts of my entire lifetime.
Oh,
Wow.
get the fuck out of here.
That's harsh criticism. But I get it. I get the pick. I thought you were gonna go with whatever that the non-fat chips were that made you shit your pants. That's where I thought you were going up first. Olestra or something.
Olestra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't want people to die.
Anal leakage.
Sorry, beef. Sorry if I took your next pick, but go ahead with your next one.
I appreciate that. I'm actually going to go into the business realm right now. I'm going to pick one of the biggest busts in U.S. Business history. It's a company that's been written about quite a bit, and I think Treasy and I have ingested both books and documentaries on this company. That would be Enron. Enron is one of the biggest busts ever. The story of Enron is absolutely fucking incredible, and in being an accountant, hearing about the shit they were trying to pull off and were accomplishing for a while is goddamn inspiring. I could never get away with it at my job, but if I go to some crooked organization in the future, I will try every single goddamn thing they tried there that eventually leads to bankruptcy. But in the short term, maybe you can get away with it. But Enron's rise and fall was so bust-worthy and monumental and amazing. And it's not the only business on my list, but it's the most impressive.
It's the biggest one.
Beef, I love that one as an accountant pick because they convinced the U.S. government that their bullshit accounting was okay.
Was fine, yes.
Look,
these future revenues.
we'll
that
tell
we
you
think
what
we'll
it's going to be worth.
over there. We'll take those right now. How about that? We earned those, even though they didn't happen, but they're going to happen, and you trust us. It's okay. All right.
It's basically the Murph segment. I predict as financial accounting for a publicly traded company.
Yes.
Great idea. Great idea. I can't believe it went wrong. My sock summer, you're up, man.
Variety called it a joyless, soulless machine of a movie. An $80 million plus mishmash of fantasy, industry in-jokes, self-referential parody, film buff gags, and 2 big action set pieces. And from the director, initially, it was a wonderful Cinderella story with a 9-year-old boy. We had a pretty good script by Bill Goldman, charming, and this ludicrous hype machine got a hold of it, and it got buried under bullshit. It was so overwhelmed with baggage, and then it was whipped out, unedited, practically assembled right out of the camera. It was in the theater 5 or 6 weeks after I finished shooting. It was kamikaze, stupid, no good reason for it. And then to open the week after Jurassic Park. God, to get to the depth of bad judgment involved and that you'd need a snorkel. Schwarzenegger blamed the film's poor performance on bad press and the election of a Democratic president, which he said influenced audiences to see 1980s action film stars as lowbrow. Ladies and gentlemen, The Last Action Hero.
Good
soundtrack. Yes, good soundtrack, 100%. But terrible movie. Terrible movie.
It cost 86 million, and I think it made 89 million in the United States, and then overseas it ended up doing like another 80 or something. So I think it made money, but
yeah, it's unwatchable. It's
you don't want to spend 80 million to make 50 million.
I don't want to spend 90 minutes watching it. I mean, that's forget all that money. I don't want to spend any time looking at it. Like it was that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's horrible.
Josh, you're up.
All right, this might be controversial.
Oh boy.
I'm going to go with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh.
And the reason why I'm going with Lindsay Lohan is that I don't know what kind of career she has today and what she is going to do tomorrow. She was on top of the world after Mean Girls.
Fucking right. Great movie.
Yeah. And, you know, looking back at it, to get into pop culture, maybe if she had good advisors or good people around her that weren't constantly trying to get into her pants, she could have had a career very similar to Scarlett Johansson, in which, you know, Scarlett Johansson is one of the highest paid actresses in the world, and she's everywhere in all these marquee movies, and the Marvel career. Like I had the idea of, well, maybe could you imagine if Lindsay Lohan had good advisors and took her acting career seriously if she was Black Widow and instead of like Scarlett Johansson. But now I think what is Lindsay? She's 30, and I don't know what the rest of her career is for her. I was also thinking Tara Reid, because Tara Reid's kind of that same boat as well.
Sharknado, though.
But I'm gonna go. Yeah, Lindsay. Yeah, Sharknado. Yeah, Sharknado saved Tara Reid. Yeah. Lindsay is slightly younger than me. She is 35 years old. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Lindsay Lohan because the way her career was and being in the spotlight after Mean Girls, she had all of this potential, and now I have no idea what she does.
Yeah,
I love that choice.
Like
actually,
reality shows or something. Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
she was in the Ecuadorian drug.
It happened. She was there. She was there. That was the 2016. You know,
Caught her.
That was the 30-year-old thing that Josh was talking about.
Her parents were like lunatics too. Like,
which weird.
100%
Child
lunatics.
actors rarely have that scenario.
No, she owns like a beach club in like Greece, like because they had a reality show on MTV and like it was like Lindsay Lohan's beach house, and she had all these people come through and work, and then she would just get so mad about ridiculous things, and mostly probably because of the drugs. But yeah, and then she would freak out on people and kick them out. So once you've gone from making that much money and then you have to go on to MTV and produce a reality show and are part of a reality show, it's probably not good.
Or do Sharknado, like I said, that's I was discussing the two,
and are films.
Yeah, I went with Lindsay Lohan.
I'm excited about what I get to pick right here because I thought this might get picked. It is probably one of the worst decisions of anyone's career ever. And I will start by telling you what it cost. It cost $5 million to make. There was $15 million in promotion spent on this. And the album sold 2 million copies. That's not great. Garth Brooks put out the Chris Gaines, Life of Chris Gaines.
Oh, man.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Literally one of the worst decisions ever by anyone. Now, his career survived it. But this album was literally one of the stupidest fucking things that's ever been put out.
Can you even stream it? Can you stream?
I mean, I didn't try.
Yeah,
I might.
Yeah, figure that out. My Sox Summer.
I'm gonna call it technically a soundtrack, and if I can stream it, I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Imagine being a guy who sold 100 million albums in a decade, and then doing that.
His sales up until there, and even after that, are so ridiculous that you can't even believe it's one person selling this many albums.
Right.
And then he decides, wait, I've got a terrible idea, and we're gonna do it. Give me $20 million to do this.
That's right.
Unreal.
No problem.
This is horrible. Yeah.
It's speaking of unreal, stupid ass fucking decisions by a guy who has too much money. My next pick is the XFL. This was a poorly executed idea the first time. And I think we all were like, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. I was in a fantasy league myself for the XFL the first time around.
Really?
Yeah.
And
we tuned in at your apartment.
We tuned in. And what was wild was we tuned in opening night. All the teams were playing. The Chicago team was not on television in Chicago.
Because it was blacked out?
No, there was a different game.
We had a different game. What the fuck are we watching here? Bad start.
And then they're like, you know what? We were just ahead of our time. Let's try this shit again. But let's do it exactly the same. And it failed again.
That's right.
Blame something else. But absolutely one of the biggest busts of all time, the XFL. Just awful execution.
100%.
Twice.
That's right. There was a market there, too. There was a market there for football during the summer. People would watch it. They just couldn't figure it out. They just fucked it up every single way.
Isn't The Rock trying to resurrect the XFL?
I mean, let's do it again. Why not? It'll just make my pick stronger.
Couldn't be worse, could it?
Maybe go with YFL.
The only way it could be worse is if Bane showed up to the stadium like in Batman and just blew up the whole stadium.
Blew it up.
Josh, you're up.
All right, so my last pick here is going to be sports, and this is the NBA, and it's Greg Oden. And I know injuries really hampered him. Yeah. I thought so highly of Greg Oden, especially that Ohio State Buckeyes team with him, and it was Michael Conley, right?
Yeah.
Conley Jr.
Yep.
The two, such a dynamic pairing, and the inside outside. And I thought, wow, both of these guys are going to be great professional players. And Conley, most definitely, I think he's still kicking it around.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for Greg Oden, he makes all this money being the number one pick, and he plays just 105 games in his career. He plays for parts of 2 seasons, his age 21 and 22, and then he tries again in 2013, 2014 at the age of 26, and then he just stops. And he had all of this potential of, being this defensive force, and the injuries just derailed any opportunity to come into that type of player that we saw in the college ranks at Ohio State. And it's unfortunate, but yeah, he's the biggest bust for me with the number one pick in the NBA.
I still have that picture. There's a crazy picture of him where he's getting his diploma from Ohio State, and he's like at half court, and he's like holding the diploma in a basketball, and he's like totally swaggy as hell. And I have that on my desktop, and I put it out there every once in a while. I'm like, I got that Greg Oden just graduated swag, and people are like, fuck that guy, he's a bust, that guy sucks. And I'm like, I'm not talking about the basketball, I'm talking about just like the guy's chilling here. But you're right, it evokes emotions. Like the guy was supposed to be a big thing. He was like, you had no real big men for a while. And then you had him in college. It was like, oh, you got a real big man right there. Defends the rim, shot blocker, can score on the block, all this stuff. Yeah. And he's going to come in the NBA, and, man, he just crapped out.
Yeah. Poor Portland, because Kevin Durant goes second overall.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep.
I mean, that was the thing. You look at a lot of the NBA drafts where there's the huge bust at number 1, and it's like no one went in that draft. And then it's that one. It's just like, oh, Jesus.
Kevin Durant at debate.
Kind of missed.
Kevin Durant at Texas was as skinny as this pen right here, but he shot the shit out of the ball. Like watching him play a game, I was like, oh my God, who's that guy? Like he's almost 7 feet. He's weighs 108 pounds, and he's shooting the fuck out of the ball. I'm like, is that guy gonna make it in the NBA? I thought the opposite, Josh. I thought Greg Oden's a lock, and this guy is too small. Yeah. He's got to put on weight or whatever. Nope. I was totally wrong about that. The guy's like a easy Hall of Famer.
So was Portland.
Yeah, so Durant went number 2. Al Horford, who's still kicking around, went number 3. Conley went number 4. Joakim Noah went number 9. Marc Gasol was taken in the 2nd round. Those are your, according to VORP, as far as value, the war for Basketball Reference, those are the best guys to that draft. So poor Portland. You took Greg Oden, and the Seattle Supersonics, rest in peace, took Kevin Durant.
Yep.
My Sox summer. Finish yours out.
What if I told you George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, and Roy Orbison decided to have a band? You'd be like, dude, that's like the greatest songwriters and guitar players ever. They're going to have all the number 1 hits. They're going to have the greatest albums ever. No. While they were huge in Australia, the highest they ever charted in America was 45 for their debut single, Handle With Care, which is a damn shame because their song End of the Line is much better jam and only reached 63 in the United States. You would expect these guys who achieved unlimited amounts of success in other bands and solo careers to at least get a top 10 hit. It did not happen. And I blame fucking Bob Dylan. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Traveling Wilburys.
That's a great pick.
Yes.
I can
Like,
never
literally.
think. I can never think about them more than the Simpsons when Homer's trying to learn about Lisa, and like he's doing a terrible job, and he's like, "Who's your favorite Traveling Wilbury? Is it Jeff Lynne? Is it Jeff Lynne?"
And Jeff Lynne's the one that people probably don't know but would recognize. He's from ELO, so Electrical Light Orchestra. So and he produced a lot of good records, and he made a lot of good records.
You know,
like they're fucking horrible.
So
like, I mean, they're not horrible. The songs are just bad. And like they tried to do one song called the Wilbury Twist. Oh my God, please go watch it. It's bad. It is really bad.
So George Harrison fans, I'm very curious on how they're going to react to this new Beatles documentary that's being produced by Peter Jackson. That's going to be coming out on Disney Plus.
The King Kong guy in Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, he
Holy
got the
shit.
film when they were shooting behind the scenes, very, very much like The Last Dance. But this is the Beatles recording their final album, and George quits the band before the album is finally produced, and the documentary is going to be very narrative. And I'm wondering on how George Harrison fans are going to react to this new documentary that comes out, seeing George quit on John and Paul, and John and Paul have to strategize and figure out how to replace George to get this final album done.
No love for Ringo. I got you. All right.
Yeah, I don't think Ringo's going to be painted in a great light in this documentary.
He'd be like,
Just
hey,
there. Just generally there.
Ringo, can you help us out with maybe a song? He's like, man, I already did Octopus's Garden, bro. I'm tapped out. Like, can't do it.
Oh God, I was
Gucci
listening
on
to
that.
70s on 7, and he's got this song from the 70s called She's 16. And dude,
Hello.
incredibly inappropriate. Incredibly inappropriate. And I was shocked. So if you haven't heard that song, I would look up Ringo
Oh, man.
Starr. She's 16.
Things were
He has-
different back
he
then,
has-
Josh.
he has
Don't
some
you worry about
track.
that.
He has some track, and I was in the car with my
pedophile.
buddy Petey, Sal the balls out guy,
Yeah.
and he's like, man, this sounds like a terrible Elton John song, and we were like cracking up. We're like, yeah, that's a perfect description of it. And I was driving, so I was like, I didn't pay much attention. And then when I got home, I was like, I got to look that song up, and Elton John had produced it. And I was like, but it was basically Elton John was like, this is some shit I don't want to put out on my album. You put it out, Ringo.
You take it.
But pay me.
But yes, pay me to give you this stuff. All right, who we got left? Beef?
Just me. I got to close it
Last
out.
pick.
Close it out.
So this product was gonna revolutionize how we watched movies, how we watched videos, how we watched everything, and that is the Laserdisc. And you cannot find a Laserdisc or a fucking Laserdisc player right now.
I find
yes,
tons of
someone maybe
Laserdiscs.
could find them.
I
He
find tons
can't
of them.
resell them. He has no
No.
chance of reselling any of these. This was going to be the hot new thing, the brand new thing. We had the DVD, but it's like, no, let's upgrade the DVD. It's just going to be even better, man.
Make it huge.
We're gonna trick this out. We're gonna trick out the DVD, and we're gonna make this thing, and it's like, no one cares, and no one still cares about the Laserdisc. There are some existing out there, but it is 100% one of the biggest busts of anything that's ever been made. No one ever gave a fuck, and we still don't give a fuck, except for talking about it right now in this draft.
Yeah, I mean the Betamax and the Laserdisc, right? I mean, like,
Way up there,
who
baby.
the fuck could even ever play one of those?
Well,
And a laser disc was before a DVD, though.
yeah.
Oh, it beat the DVD?
Yeah.
Yeah, beat
Either
the DVD.
way.
Laserdisc is before the beta VHS war. Like Laserdisc was ahead of its time.
No.
There's-
Laserdisc is
No,
after VHS.
Josh is right.
Yes.
The original ones were in a big plastic container, and you stuck them in the machine.
Yeah,
And
they were
then-
huge. They were album size
Yes.
discs.
And they
Right,
you
but
would have
those
to flip
were
through 'em.
after VHS.
No.
No.
The first
Oh, you
Laserdisc
guys-
is late
you guys are
70s.
bullshitting me.
No.
You
No.
guys are
It up
bullshitting.
right now.
No, you can look it up. Late 70s, early 80s.
I never even heard of a Laserdisc until way after DVDs.
Yeah, it's because
Yeah.
you guys.
I mean, we lived in the hood. I'm sorry. We
Yeah,
lived in the
well,
city, man.
you know-
I lived in the sticks, and I knew it. Josh knew too. Maybe it was a sticks thing.
We live in the hood. God damn it.
Because what I also learned in college, the whole beta versus VHS war,
Okay.
porn decided that war.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Blu-ray versus HD DVD.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. When porn decided to go with Blu-ray because of quality, that killed HD DVD. And when porn decided to go with VHS, that killed beta. So yeah, porn with streaming quality today,
It rules
as
on
far
the
as
internet,
data
too.
centers and streaming quality, Pornhub has a lot to say. It is Google, Amazon, Pornhub. They are the leaders when it comes to streaming video quality.
What's wild is that like guys who have worked for Pornhub have written like papers and documentation on like how to like store enormous amounts of data and how to stream it quickly. And like I'm not talking about the people in the films or anything. I'm talking about like the people that are like putting the site together
behind the scenes
and doing the software development are industry leaders in software development.
Right.
Not so much in pornography. Like I don't think that these guys are all just out there with like huge cranks and everything, and it's like we're just working.
I mean, they might have them. They might have.
They
them.
might,
Don't
but
discredit
that's
them, all right.
but that's
don't
not.
sell their cranks short.
Yeah, don't
Crazy.
say they got
But that is not their
Just
true
leave
talent.
alone,
Is
okay?
all I'm saying. That's not their true talent.
Okay, all right,
They're out there doing some very amazing things, and like a lot of the things that we take for granted. I mean, like this, we're streaming this right now for hour number 3 at this moment.
Yep.
This is because guys like that have pushed the envelope and made this possible, which is weird to say.
1981 is when they first came out with the first video disc. They weren't called laser discs; they were called video discs.
Yeah.
But that is
When's
basically
the first VHS? 2015 is that according to your timeline?
No, as well. DiscoVision, blah blah blah, as well as blah blah blah. So the
VHS was released in 76.
There we go.
And then, the mid 80s, man. Like, I would just like, I don't want to call out Mailman Jack, but that is a very turbulent decade of media delivery, because you go 8-track to cassette. And then you go from, did people even own movies? I mean, you would have to buy the projector reel, like the Kodak projector reel.
They did.
So basically, the way you own movies in the 80s, and because
I was gonna say 60s and 70s, like the mid
60s
70s.
and 70s. Yeah, no, I don't think people owned movies.
Right.
But in the 80s, I mean, and Beef, you could attest to this, is what you got 2 VCRs.
Yep.
And you hook them into each other, and then you rent the movie, and then you record the movie onto your VHS.
Yep.
And then you have the movie.
Don't know what video disc is, but know how to legally bootleg movies.
I remember
raised in Bridgeport.
I still remember being in the video store with my parents and being like, "Can we get these Star Wars movies and then go home and record them so that we have them?" And they're like, "Shut the fuck up! The guy in the video store is 1 foot away."
I am calling the EPA or what? Who is the probably the
That's the I don't know. I don't know what you're going for. ATF.
No, the people that would like.
We were buying guns from them too.
You want to do a dump?
Yes, let's dump them. Beef,
Go
dump
ahead.
yours.
All right, I'll dump mine quick. I got a bunch. Sports, I got Brian Bosworth, Tony Mandrich, and I have the run and shoot offense. All of those go out.
Oh, nice.
Pop culture, I've got Waterworld, the the group Crisscross, Fancy Handshakes. Remember how in those were for like 5 minutes? Anna Nicole Smith, paying for online pornography in shopping malls. Food, I've got McDonald's pizza, Big Hurt beer, bowls of any sort, burrito bowls, protein bowls, any of that bullshit, Red Bull and vodka. And then I have I've got long-term capital management, which is a hedge fund that exploded. It was professors trying to think they could trade this stuff. They couldn't. Major state college university education. That's a huge plus. The BlackBerry, the Kindle, and Amazon's Alexa.
Oh, damn.
The BlackBerry's a great one.
Man,
Is the
I love my
BlackBerry a
BlackBerry.
bust?
I loved it.
They had
love
their
BlackBerry.
moment. Yeah.
The BlackBerry
I
is
loved
the
it.
beta of phones.
No.
I mean, Josh, maybe you could say the BlackBerry had a short, lustrous career, but they burned out really fast.
No, so-
like, it was like gone immediately,
So it's,
like
it's
a little bit of time.
It's the Betamax of telephones, because they tried to keep everything sourced to just them.
Right.
Yes.
And so
which
they
was
wouldn't-
smart at the
in
time.
the time.
For a minute, yeah.
So
yeah,
it was for Betamax, where they're like, you know, only certain stores could carry this, and we're gonna really refine our market, and then you're gonna have to do this. And then someone said, we could do that shit too, just different and way cheaper for anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't have as many as Loaf has. This was going to be my pick, but until the Traveling Wilburys like definitely knocked them out, and it was Gator Gum. Gatorade produced the gum in 1970 and through the 1980s, and that shit was horrible.
Tell you what, though, in those first 3 seconds, that was a drowning scare.
So that's
just the amount of juice that
That's
just
the thing.
shot down your
They're like,
throat.
they made it so sour that your mouth like salivated because it was so sour, and then it just turned to chalk. So if you
Always
like
coughed. Like,
if you like Gator Gum, you can still get Quench, which is supposed to be the same kind of gum. I researched that. I haven't had Quench. It can go fuck itself. I also had the Titanic. That wasn't supposed to.
Not the movie,
But-
just the boat.
No,
Yeah,
the actual Titanic
actual
is
ship.
probably
The
that should have been the number one pick.
Yeah, that should have been.
You're not supposed. It wasn't supposed to drown in the town.
Yeah.
That
Unsinkable.
should be the number one pick.
Unsinkable sunk on its first trip out.
Unsinkable.
that is
Unbelievable.
awesome. That is awesome.
And then like I don't even want to say the next one because it's not as good. But Chinese Democracy by GNR.
I had that. Yeah.
But yeah, the Titanic definitely was probably one of the biggest parts of it. Not of our lifetime, but it definitely did not work out so well.
Oh my god, that's so morbid.
Unsinkable ship.
That's so morbid, but it's so funny. It's just, enough time has passed, folks.
Josh,
We can laugh at it now.
Josh, dump your list.
I had Crystal Pepsi just in case if somebody
Yeah.
took New Coke.
No question.
Ryan Leaf.
I had Ryan.
Oh,
Yep.
damn.
That was the other big one on my list. And then from a White Sox perspective, and I know he pokes fun at himself, but boy, there's no bigger bust than Gordon Beckham. From someone that started off so well and had so much promise, and then nothing. Nothing.
Bad, very bad.
So
That's
those
our
were the
good
big
friend
ones on
Adam
my
Eden would-
list.
Oh, as our good friend Adam Eden would say, he got that money, he got lazy. So, that's why you got to starve him out with that money.
I'm so glad Adam Eden is not on a team right now, so he could be voted as a union representative for this upcoming CBA, because he was for the previous CBA for the White Sox that screwed everybody over, and he was so happy that they got caterers in the clubhouse.
Fucking ridiculous. Fucking
The
ridiculous.
sad thing about Eaton is that we can't pick up that option that we have on it.
Dump your list, Chorizo.
So I can't believe Josh didn't have this one. Mark Appel is
Yeah.
No question.
one there. Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel,
Yep.
Oh, good one.
Maurice Claret,
Yeah, he loved the Grey Goose, baby.
Man, correct.
Daisuke Matsuzaka. I had Yasmani Tomas,
Hideki Arabu.
Rusney Castillo
Oh,
is one
Oh,
where
yeah.
they basically
paid a lot
told
of
him,
money.
you can't ever play in the major leagues because of how much you're going to cost our cap.
We're gonna pay you $10 million to go play AAA.
Which he did. He made a lot of money to never play in the major leagues. And then this is a show I'm not too familiar with, but it's a Netflix show called Marco Polo. Are you guys familiar? They did this Marco
Yeah.
Polo show. Apparently, it lost $200 million.
Shit.
I've barely heard of this show, and they somehow lost $200 million on it.
It's incredible.
Unreal loss from Netflix. And that's all I had because
Maybe
the Ryan Leaf thing was going to be my the cherry on top.
The
Guys,
Titanic was amazing.
The Titanic.
That is amazing.
How did that not make it into the actual
Titanic
That's what's upsetting. Oh, my
should
God.
be the number one overall pick. We all fucked up, and it was in your dump list.
I'm never gonna forget that.
The
I
thing
thought
is,
it
like
was so
picking like
generic,
MFS
though.
might win this draft, and he still had the best pick in the holster. Like, he didn't even need to bomb it on us. He had the best pick in the holster.
What's funny is he might win the draft for his dump list.
Gator gum and the Titanic.
Oh my god, that's like saying
Well,
the
for
Challenger.
That is actually a decent
Bust.
show. I mean, like I'm sure it is. I'm sure Rusney Castillo is an average major league player, but he's not worth the
There you go.
$30 million they gave him to play the minors. All right, fellas, great time.
3 hours and 9 minutes.
That's old school, baby.
You know
I
what
love
it is? We're with Josh. We got to go over 3 hours.
Sorry,
we gotta,
guys.
we gotta do it right. Speaking of like doing like 3-4 hours, we're gonna be doing some stuff in the next couple months. So stay tuned. We will give you some details on it. But in the meantime, you can find Josh on Twitter at SoxMachine_Josh, and you can go do the SoxMachine off-season plan at SoxMachine.com. So go do that. Go tell us what you decided to do. Shoot that over to us. Post at us. We would love to see all your great ideas, all your terrible ideas too.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll give you just as much shit as we gave each other. And we will talk to everybody soon. And I hope you guys have a great couple weeks. We'll be back in 2.
Peace.